I didn't sell out, son. I bought in. Keep that in mind.
Welcome to the Independent Characters, episode 267. This is Carl.
This is Adon.
And we are here at quite a few episodes into the thing. Hey, there goes the tree, guys, so we're good.
Okay, good.
I was a little concerned because people have been doing cutting trees and
grinding
throwing them into a grinder. And it was making quite a bit of noise. And I was like, oh no. That's one of the problems with not having a studio and just having a house.
Hey, at least they make less noise than your cat.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have to kick McKenna out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, this episode, we are going to be, it's a Show of Force episode. If you're not familiar with what a Show of Force episode is, Show of Force is, we've said from the beginning, we don't do codex overviews.
Correct.
In this show. There's a lot of other shows that will read a codex to you. We don't do that.
And we don't talk about the medal lists and things like that.
I think our first commercial said, like, our listeners can read or something like that. So anyway, what we do seek to answer here is in a codex, in the front of a codex, there used to be, it's no longer there. Why do you want to collect this army?
Right.
And so we kind of seek to answer that question, meaning we'll talk about all the lore around it, the history of the army within 40K, right, both the universe and just the real, production line of it.
Right.
Models, et cetera, et cetera.
What's cool about it.
Yeah, what's cool and why you might want to run this kind of army.
And I have to say, I actually really like prepping for these episodes.
Learn a lot.
Yeah, because even armies that I own and have played for a while, I learn a lot just doing the research for it. And I end up going down a lot more rabbit holes than I originally anticipated. Yeah. Just
for me, the big one was the Eldar Codex.
Right, yeah.
Eldar.
Yeah.
And I read that and I was like, I did not realize how deep that went.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So anyway, that's what this show is about. And this one in particular, we've called Oaths and Damnation. And because this was the thinking, because there are fewer models involved in both the Imperial Knights and the Chaos Knights Codex,
right,
and fewer units to choose from,
right,
I thought, let's do these combined. We will see how that goes.
Yeah,
the notes have become incredibly long for this episode, so this may be part one, or it may be the whole thing. We'll see. We'll see how it's going. And we may end up breaking this into 2 episodes.
Yeah, talking about those rabbit holes, when I started, especially on the chaos side, I was like, oh, this is deeper than I had anticipated.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. We may end up breaking it up a little bit at dawn, so we'll see. Anyway, just real quick. So we are part of the Goonhammer Media Network. Make sure you check out more at media.goonhammer.com for more shows and information. Plus, Goonhammer is just a great site. So there you go. We talked about what Show of Force is about. Let's go into Elite Choice.
Elite Choice, yes.
Elite Choice. You want to go first or you want me to?
Sure, I'll go first.
Go.
So, the way I don't know how you prepare for this, but what I do is I go back to the date of the last show and then just start scrolling through photos.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same here. I do it both on the Facebook
Discord
group and the Discord group.
Yeah, that's what I do too. And as I'm scrolling through, of course, my eye gets pulled to people like Will. It's like, Hall of Legends. I can't use that guy.
Right. You're not even supposed to mention him.
Oh, you're not?
No, you can't. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no. Going to revoke my press pass. But as I was thinking about it, I was going through, and there's a lot of really cool stuff, actually. And I almost picked the one that you picked, but I had to pick Dave Gormley's LVO display board. I had to. Part of the reason I had to do that was because I was present when he built it.
Okay.
And he built it.
I allow it.
Immediately, from nothing.
Yeah.
And did it fast. And did it in a condo on the balcony.
Oh, okay. At the event.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of impressive.
He picked me up from the airport and he goes, oh yeah, I had to stop at Michael's and, pick up all this stuff. And I'm like,
that's pretty impressive. Well, I mean, it's hard to travel with a display board.
Right.
It really is.
Right. And that was his thing. And because he was really cramped for space, he couldn't even bring his helmet, his normal yellow helmet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so he was like, oh, yeah, I could do this in my sleep, And
That guy's amazing.
that's my best Dave Gormley impression. And he did. I mean, it was amazing what he was able to throw together and the speed and he did the classic space cacti and the whole bit.
yeah.
And the army looks great anyway.
Yeah.
And I would ask and say, well, how are you gonna get that color? Oh, I'm just gonna mix it all together. It's like, okay.
That's your impression of Dave Gormley?
And it was, I'm gonna do this. That's yeah. I mean, not quite like that, but yeah, similar. We had a great time. Went down to Fremont Street Experience. It was good. But anyway, so my pick is Dave Gormley's Army Display.
Okay.
For LVO.
All right. Listen, my pick, and I think this is at least the second time I've mentioned Nebuchadnezzar, which is Matthias.
Yeah.
And his Tyranids armies on parade. Around the time Armies on Parade comes around, makes it really easy to kind of pick this. Because you get to see the whole army on display.
Right.
He's taking good photos of it.
The photos are great.
Yeah, the photos are great. The army looks great. It's a very fairly simplistic like display board, but it has 3-4 levels that are just it just allows the army.
It's
to
a
be
classic
displayed.
foam sheets of foam kind of thing, but kind of like Dave's.
Great.
Yeah.
Looks great though, and I think he took the gold at the
Armies
on Parade at the store he was presenting at. So congratulations, man! This army looks fantastic.
Yeah, the Tyranid army he has on here, the blues and the purples and stuff, it really blends in.
We've been watching him paint some.
Yeah, right.
But seeing much like when Stormcast first came out, I was like, I do not like these models. Sam, I do not like them in a can. I do not like them. I really didn't like them. Then I went to Warhammer World and I saw them as an army,
right?
Like on a display, and I thought, okay,
yeah,
as an army, this looks really cool.
Yeah,
and individually, I'm kind of like, but here. Like in the Armies on Parade, when you see everything together, you see a vision show out. So for me, like this is a killer.
Yeah. Really good choice.
I'll talk about it in Hobby Progress. But anyway, speaking of Hobby Progress.
Speaking of it.
You want to go first?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always mess me up because I'm second on the notes, and I got to roll down.
But you go first.
I'll go first.
You're steering this part of the show, so.
Oh, is that right?
Well, once we go to Imperial Knights.
Oh, okay. So I went to LVO, and
you did.
I was only there for a couple days.
Okay.
There was a family thing to do, and so I was only there for Thursday and Friday. But I took advantage of the opportunity I had, and I took a couple classes from Crazy Dave Osborne, Dan Osborne.
Nice.
I always want to call him Dave for some reason.
Because it was
Dan.
But it was
Dan.
But in that show Bizarre from the 80s, it was Super Dave Osborne.
Super Dave Osborne, right? Yeah. Exactly. That's what it is. It's because I'm old.
Holy.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of
if you don't know who Super Dave Osborne
it's on YouTube, I think.
Go look on YouTube. Yeah. I don't know that the comedy holds up in this day and age,
probably
but in the early 80s, it was hysterical.
Yeah. And there's probably a nostalgia sheen on it or whatever. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I go back and look at some old things. I'm like, why did I like this?
Yeah, why did I think this was funny?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, Super Dan Osborne.
Yeah, Super Dan. So
I think that's just what we call him now.
Super Dan?
Super Dan Osborne. Yeah. You have to say the whole thing.
Oh, you have to say okay.
Yeah. Because Super Dave Osborne was always Super
Dave Osborne. Yeah, okay, Super Dan Osborne. Anyway, see, I'm going to have to get that in my brain. So at lunchtime on Friday, I was hanging out with Blake and Ed from Life After the Cover Save, and recently of the Independent Characters episode.
By the way, one of our most commented on episodes in a long time.
That was hilarious.
It was fun to
I almost drove off the road once.
Those guys are funny.
But I'm talking to them, and a guy turns around and goes, wait a minute. And so he recognized, the voices talking. And so we chatted with him a little bit. And then I go to Super Dan Osborne's OSL class, and there's Michael Roy sitting right next to me, the guy who I ran into outside. Yeah. So shout out to Michael Roy.
Nice.
And
Dan is such a great guy, too.
Yeah.
He's just incredibly talented and just super pleasant to be around. And him and Caleb are like cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah. And Michael did actually a really cool job in his Angrant that he was preparing for
course.
LVO. But anyway, so I took an OSL class
Okay.
and did some stuff that I hadn't done before. So that was kind of fun. That's why I like taking classes, is doing things that I wouldn't normally think of doing, trying to do on my own. And
do you do them again after that? That's the real question.
yeah, well, and so here's the thing.
Like
that
I love the weathering stuff you did here.
Yeah. So the weathering, well, let me finish with the OSL class. The Dan emphasizes the contrast between dark and light for doing glowing effects. And that's kind of what he was focusing on. And I treat hobby classes a lot like I used to treat firearms classes back in the day, where I may not do it exactly like that instructor might do it, but every class I ever go to, there's something I can take away from it, right? And it's the same thing here. And so I may not do it exactly the way Super Dan Osborne does it for OSL, but there are definitely things that he did that I would probably take away.
I think everybody does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Right. And then the second class, which was right after the first class, was a weathering and oil wash class. And it wasn't just oil washes. We we also used, I think it's called Dirty Down.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to say it's by AK, but I'm not sure.
No,
But
I don't think it is.
I know what you're talking about.
It was developed by some folks who were in the film industry.
Oh, okay.
And it's really interesting. It's an alcohol-based, it's a water-soluble, alcohol-based wash or I don't know what you call it. They have a patina thing. They have a grime one. They have several different ones. And what's really interesting about it is you put it on there and you let it dry and it doesn't rub off. But if you were to take a paintbrush with water on it,
Just water.
you can remove it.
Or move it around.
Or move it around.
Interesting.
And then it re-dries. It's amazing stuff.
I have seen people use it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So did you enjoy working with it?
Yes, it was interesting. It was an interesting thing. I'd never seen it before. I'd never heard of alcohol-based water-soluble stuff. And so it was really cool to work with. The other thing that I did in that class that I heard you guys talk about a lot, and I have never actually done it myself, is oil wash. Yeah. And so I got a chance to play around with oil wash. We got to play around with Villainy Inks stuff.
I have a bunch of those too.
In fact, everybody in the class got a set.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
Nice. They're not cheap.
No. And he didn't expect that.
Oh, that's very
He asked them for, can I get a couple bottles from you so that I can
Demonstrate
it in class? And they said, yeah, how many guys are in your class? And they just gave them,
whole sets.
Whole sets.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's like a $60, $75.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Expenditure. What did you think about using it? I'm really curious about this.
So
about both the oil and this, which kind of use a similar technique.
Right. They do use a similar technique. I didn't use the Villainy as much as the regular oil wash. We just used the, I think it wasn't Dalaroni. It was Winsor Newton, I think, oils. And you make the wash and you put it on there, slop it on there and rub it off and all that, the whole bit.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. I'd never done it before. So being able to play around with it and how much do you take off and how much do you leave on and all that kind of stuff.
It's up to you.
Right.
Till you don't want that much on. Right.
And then the Villainy ink stuff, we did a lot with the like rust effects and things like that. Yeah. And you kind of bring it down and then I used a paintbrush with the spirits on it to kind of
mineral spirits
to remove it a little bit so it actually looks like streak. I mean, it was really fun to work with. I don't typically do weathering on my models.
Same.
And so I don't know how much I'll use it. But they're definitely on terrain.
Yeah.
Like my boarding action stuff.
Yeah.
I think I might end up using it on that for sure.
I think it's perfect for that.
Yeah.
Let me give you a couple my thoughts on because
what are your thoughts?
I've done
Carl?
both oil wash and I've done how long you got? I've done oil wash and I've played with the Villainy ink stuff.
Yeah. I have about 267 episodes worth of time.
The oil wash stuff I found actually easier to do than the Villainy ink stuff in a way that like I used that Villainy ink on some bases. I'm trying to remember what bases I did it on. But I thought, I'll use these to quickly make these weathered looking bases on something. I For the life of me, I can't remember what I did it on. The Terminators for Shell's boarding action.
Okay, right.
And they came out great. But what I noticed was, so they have tutorial videos, which are just amazing. Like the stuff they do with it, I look at it and I thought, oh, this is like magic in a bottle.
It takes practice.
It takes practice.
Sure.
It's not as easy as they make it look out, but it's not hard. The interesting thing I found was it never seemed to dry completely.
Right.
And I had to seal it. And I was a little nervous. I'm like, why isn't this drying? And
it takes a longer time for it to cure than the other stuff, for sure.
And so I ended up sealing it and everything's fine.
Right.
But I found the oil washes dry a bit faster than that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. He talked about the difference between using an oil and an enamel.
Yeah.
And how some of the differences in the curing process and the way that you work with them and stuff like that.
The difference, technically is.
It was definitely an interesting class, and Dan tried to demystify it in 2 hours, which is not easy.
Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty easy with oil wash.
But we were able to, in terms of going all the different types of things.
Right.
But it was a really good experience. I really enjoyed taking the class, as you said,
So myself and Josh.
Super Dan Osborne's an awesome dude. So.
Travis and others have talked about oil washing now on the show.
Right.
And I talked for a long time wanting Josh to teach me. And as I said, then I had Travis show me online how to do it. And once I did it, I realized just how, like you said, demystified. Once it got demystified,
right,
I realized how easy it was.
Yeah, for me, so I liked it. I think I didn't let it dry long enough because when I went to wipe it off, it just all came off.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the heck? And so I did it again.
How long did you wait?
Well, it's a 2-hour class, so we didn't wait very long.
You don't have a long time. Yeah, I typically wait almost an hour and a half before I even start.
Yeah. But it was. We got the concept, and if you use a hairdryer, it makes it go a little faster.
It does, and in fact, the Villainy ink stuff, they intend for you to use a hairdryer because it also removes some of it and makes it become more matte colored. So it's really interesting stuff.
No, absolutely it is. And the other cool thing about Dan's classes is he gives you a handout with a QR code that goes directly to tutorials for the stuff they did in class.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Isn't that neat?
That's smart.
Great idea, yeah. Smart guy. Smarter than me. That's why he's making money doing this stuff.
That's right. That's why he's Super Dan Osborne.
That's why he's Super Dan Osborne. Yes. Also, I started assembling a shock jump dragsta.
Yeah.
For the orcs.
Yeah, I saw you complaining about it.
No, I wasn't complaining about it.
It was. It's okay.
Not complaining. I have a friend named Ethan who...
You were spitting facts.
I was spitting facts. That's exactly right. I was spitting all right. I have a friend named Ethan who helps me out with some assembly stuff for when I need to get a lot of stuff done in a short period of time. Mm-hmm. He builds stuff super fast. Now, we're talking about mainly infantry stuff, and I guess we're not quite as worried about things like mold lines and things like that, I guess. I don't know what the difference is, but when I assemble stuff...
The difference is if you don't clean it and you paint it, then you can see the mold line.
Well, yeah. When I assemble something, especially a vehicle, it takes me a really long time because I go through and try and clean up everything and carve everything off and things like that. We used to have a guy who'd come to the cafe and he would just sit in the back at a chair and just spend hours just cleaning parts. Not assembling anything, just cleaning parts.
I don't need hours to clean parts.
Well, apparently I spent a couple hours doing it. But anyway, I started assembling the shock jump. The other thing that's really cool about that model in the assembly process is GW actually does have an icon that goes along with their dry fit icon that for painting in sub-assemblies.
Yeah.
Well, they actually indicate to you, hey, you should really paint this as a sub-assembly.
Interesting.
And so like the engine, the really weird engine casing on the back of that and a couple other pieces, it actually tells you shouldn't put this on right now. You should paint it first. And so...
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen that before.
It's pretty cool. And I'd noticed it a couple times before, a lot of times with orc stuff, but it definitely comes into play with this model. So yeah, I was assembling shocked up drank stuff.
The other thing you said was you were shocked it was all on one... Shocked. It was all on one sprue.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Because the model looks more complicated.
But you were saying it does take quite a while to assemble. It
takes me a long time.
I think in
Ethan would probably knock it out.
Well, I saw that
minutes.
other people also agreed that newer GW models tend to have a lot of minor or small parts that you have to connect to. Yeah,
right.
I without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Is that your hobby progress?
Then I also listened to The Era of Ruin, which is the newest Siege of Terra book, but it's all short stories. And there was some stuff on there I really, really liked. There was a line in
It's a mixed bag, huh?
Yeah, there was a line in John French's. There's some of them are like stories, and other ones are almost like flashes of thoughts.
Yeah.
Like the very first piece, it was like you're watching a video. It was just like flash and show something, flash and show something, and flash. And
It was interesting.
It was really cool. The method they use they have a new narrator. And sometimes he doesn't differentiate voices enough for you to tell it's two different people. So sometimes I was getting a little confused, but that's a minor thing. But there's a line in John French's Ex Libris book, which is about Ahriman. And he was
Takes
talking,
place in like 6 seconds.
yeah,
The whole story.
but it's the time bending and it was a really cool.
Yeah.
It was kind of almost like a
His first novel does something really interesting where Ahriman gets engaged with in a combat, like a psychic combat, and it lasts like few seconds, but it takes pages for him to describe.
Right.
it.
Yeah. But it's almost that. Yeah, it was a really cool way that the feel of that story, and it's reminded me of the fight between the angel and Horus, because it was the same kind of thing where there was pages and pages of description of something that took the blink of an eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But he talked about Ahriman talks about seeing these people who've been through the battles who were shells of meat bleeding from torn souls.
Yeah.
And as I'm listening and that line went by, I actually hit the 10-second repeat thing on Audible so I could hear it again. I mean, it was some of his writing is just super evocative. And then near the end, Aram Densky Bowden has a Custodes story. And what struck me about that one is he describes what the actual Golden Throne looks like, as opposed to what myth and legend says. And if you think about what the way he describes it, what he's basically describing is the John Blanche artwork of the Golden Throne.
Why wouldn't you?
Right?
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if people can picture that thing where it almost looks like a crazy man with hair flaring out, but it's actually these electrical cable and things like that going into the skull of this basically skeleton looking thing. But as he's describing it, like, oh, that's the John Blanche piece. And I just thought it was really cool that it was a verbal description of, as soon as he started describing it, it immediately jumped in my head.
Right.
So anyway, it's cool. I enjoyed that book.
Very cool. Hey, speaking of books, I am listening to all of Gaunt's Ghosts again. So
Right, you said that last time.
I'm on
Yeah,
like book 5 now.
is it good stuff?
It's still so good.
Yeah.
It really holds up.
Yep.
Okay. The reason I said, "Are you done?" when we were talking about assembly was because that leads right into what I'd been doing, which is I've been assembling war dogs. And you want to talk about a model that takes a long time.
Yeah.
I got faster at it by the time I got to the end of all 6 of them, but I basically finished 2 more War Dog Carnivores and then 3 War Dog Stalkers. And this is including cleaning everything and making sure the plates are separate, because I'm going to paint the plates and then put
in
them
sub-assemblies.
in sub-assemblies at Caleb's recommendation. And the thing is, like, these models are super duper complicated. Like, just to build an arm is like a whole bunch of steps. I must have assembled the claw arm wrong on 5 out of the 6 of them initially, where I had to I'd be like, oh no, I forgot to include this, and I'd pull it apart and then put it back together. So
when you're doing this, are you using super glue?
I use super glue.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, a lot of the newer kits are much more complicated. I mean, I keep talking about the Saturn
I don't mind it.
I keep talking about the Saturn Dreadnought, but it's 202 pieces.
Yeah.
And it's
a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
And it's the kind of thing where when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, that's a kit I'm not buying. It's just because that's not my. Some people, they live for assembly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not me.
I'm not a huge fan of assembly. It's just part of what you do to get to the next step. I actually prefer painting over assembling, actually.
And it's interesting when I posted the thing about the sub-assemblies, about the shock jump.
Yeah.
There was a couple people who said, I just see assembly as the necessary evil to get to painting.
I've kind of become that guy. So that was a lot of assembly. Now, one thing that helped me was Adam of Table. What's his channel?
Adam Looper?
Yeah. No, Adam. Uncle Adam.
Right. Okay.
Yes, it is Adam. Adam Looper of what's his? It's Tabletop Gaming.
I can picture him. I can picture the channel. I've watched some of the videos.
Tabletop Minions. No.
Minions. There you go.
No.
Yes.
Is that it?
I think it is.
Anyway,
I'm going to look while you're talking.
Yeah, you look while I'm talking. Yeah. So he puts out videos which I think are great. I think at least once a week or so he's put out a video, then he does a live chat. Well, one of the videos he just put out, and first off, also Adam, I'm very sorry to hear about your mother. That's it's rough, and
yes,
our sympathies.
Yes.
So anyway, he posted a video where he talked about like tricking your brain into doing hobby stuff, and one of the interesting things, one of the suggestions he had, it is Tabletop Minions.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. One of the suggestions he had, which is something that worked for me, and I guess he said this came from some guy in the 80s that came up with how to multitask on these things, was you set a timer for how long you're going to work on something.
Yeah.
And then you get to that point and then you stop working on it.
Yeah.
And you go do something else. And so what I was doing, because I won't say like assembling the War Dogs was a lot of fun.
Right.
It wasn't as bad. This made it not as bad, because what I did was I'd be like, okay, I'm going to assemble for 30 minutes.
Okay.
And I would set the timer for 30 minutes and I'd start doing my assembly, and maybe 30 minutes would come up and I'm just going to finish this piece that I'm on.
Right.
And then I'd finish and I'd say, you know what? I'm going to go drive in my racing simulator, or I'm going to go play a video game or whatever for an hour.
Kind of clear your mind a little bit.
Yeah. And then I'll come back, and because I can put up with almost anything for 30 minutes. Right. And so I did all that. And next thing I knew, they were assembled.
Yeah.
Like it really, that helped me.
Right.
So I'd recommend going and seeing his video. I'll link to it in the show notes, because he had a couple other tips, but that particular one worked very well for me.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I'll say, I'll look at something and go, okay, I'm going to build to here.
Right.
And then almost inevitably I'll get like, you know what?
You go just a little bit
I'll go farther. Yeah, a little bit farther.
Progress kind of
begets progress.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's other time. I mean, the other thing about assembly for me, and I find this is true with painting too, because anybody who's been listening for more than an episode or two knows that, I'm not.
Painting's not your strong point.
None of it is really my strong point. Why am I even doing this hobby?
I
don't play well. I don't.
Let's quit.
Yeah.
All right. Here comes
See you later.
In credits.
But I find that once I start doing it, I lose track of time.
Yeah.
And
once I get into it.
When I was doing the drag
it.
stuff, I looked down at my watch and was like, oh wow, I didn't realize it was that late.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so, because I'd only planned to be doing it for about an hour.
Yeah.
And it ended up being 2. Because I always think about the 1 hour a night.
Yeah.
Spend 1 hour a night.
Yeah. It also does help if you're listening to like a podcast or audiobook or something along those lines.
Yep. And that's what I was doing.
It's funny because I was like, I usually don't listen to other 40K podcasts.
Right.
I listen to Life After the Cover Save. And I listen to 40K.
But is that 40K, a 40K?
Badcast.
No, that's not.
It is, because Travis is on it.
Yeah.
So I listened to those 2 shows, but then like I didn't have anything on. I'm like, I don't listen to these because I don't want their ideas to creep into what I'm coming up with. Like I don't want to steal anybody's ideas. But I was like, let's see what's out there. And I was looking, I'm like, there's a lot of podcasts out here. There's a lot of podcasts not producing episodes anymore that are still out there. I'm like, I remember these guys. Yeah, they haven't produced episodes in 6 years and their feed is still up there. I'm like, okay, never mind. So, and then there's some that have been around a while still. So in the end, I ended up not really. The reason I do a podcast is because I do something I want to this is what I would want to listen to.
Right.
So anyway, so got the
Wait a minute,
War
are you
Dogs
saying you like listening to yourself talk?
all the time.
Yes. Okay.
You can't talk this much and not like listening to what you say.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
I can't stand it. So I completed the 5 War Dogs, which brings me to 6, which is what my list contains.
Okay.
Then I started assembling my Knight Abominant.
Yeah.
Which I just love this model, and we'll talk more about that in the chaos section, whether it's this episode or next. And then so I started assembling that thing, and it's just fantastic looking. All of the knights are quite a project to assemble.
Yeah.
I've got the legs done, the torso done. I'm in the last fourth of it. You know, I'm 75% done. And as I was assembling it, and I've been talking, I think I talked last episode about how Caleb was saying he was going to paint some knights for my birthday. And I was like, oh, maybe I can talk him into painting these knights. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, maybe I don't want to do that.
Right.
Because if Caleb were to paint this army for me,
I know where you're going,
and I had to add something to it.
I know where you're going.
All of a sudden, I'm now like, I'm in the situation I'm in with my 1,000 Sons, where if I ever really want to add something, and I do have some things I've reached out to Colin about that I want to add, and I haven't followed up on it. If I ever want to add something, I'm really going to need to go back to Caleb. I do not paint as well as him, especially freehand, and I'm not going to. Like, I'm not going to spend the time to learn that.
Yeah.
And he is so talented.
So no shade at all on Dave Paints, but he has a specific technique that he uses for painting armies fast.
Super fast.
And that's a little bit easier to replicate.
Oh, that I can do.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Is that the difference between...
Caleb would be painting these like he painted my Chaos Reaver Titan.
Right.
Like, I cannot do that.
I don't know if Caleb has a low mode.
No, he does not.
And he doesn't think of it as being difficult.
Dave,
you know what
paints,
I'm saying?
Yeah. No, Dave. Yeah. It's just couple triangles. That's actually Bryce, but
same idea.
He's like, it's not that hard. I'm like, but then again, he showed me how to do lightning on the on the Night Lords, and that came out. But that's a far cry from what he is doing. Right?
Well, so when I took the night class, and we had the guy showing us how to do freehand. Why am I blanking on his name? Golden Demon Winter. And he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna draw skulls."
Yeah. I have watched so many skull tutorials.
Oh man,
dude, I cannot do it.
Draw 2 ovals.
But yeah. So anyway, the thing about Dave Paints is you mentioned, like, he has unlocked the key. For being a successful commission painter.
Yep.
He can paint fast. They look beautiful.
Yep.
Do they look like Caleb's? No. But you would have to spend 10x to 20x the time to make it look like Caleb.
And then you would have to spend 10x to 20x the money to pay for that.
To make it worth your while.
Exactly.
But I couldn't go to Caleb and go, "Can you paint this like Dave Paint?" He wouldn't be interested in doing that either. Whereas I could go to Dave Paints and say, "Hey, can you paint up this army?" He'd be like, "Okay, so you want it next week?" He's incredible.
Good guy.
Oh, he's the best.
And I love what he's been doing on his page, where he's going back and showing like retro stuff. He's pulling out this old retro models and things like that. It's been very interesting.
I remember when he first kind of came on the scene for us that we saw. Jeff was still on the show at the time, and we were looking at it, and I go, it looks too airbrush for me. I remember making that comment. And then later when I went to him to get something painted, Jeff said, "I thought you said he looks too airbrush." I go, it's grown on me. I've really come to appreciate the look that he achieved.
Yeah.
So anyway, so started assembling Knight Abominant. I'm about 75% done with that assembly. The other thing I did was I needed to kind of refresh my palette. I needed a palette cleanser, and I had a Gazgul Thraka model.
That's a hell of a palette cleanser.
And I had asked Aaron, who has an orc army. I go, "Hey, you have that Gazgul Thraka model, the new one?" And he's all, "No, I don't." He's not really playing his orcs right now. He's like, "No, I don't. I think I have the old one." He goes, "At some point I got to get it." And I go, "Oh, okay." And so then I was like, I have this model.
Right.
And I really feel like I wanted to try slap chopping a model like this. Like, I was like, I think this model will lend itself very well to slap chop. And so I really went in hard on that. I used all the speed paints from Army Painter for the stuff I did. I, based it a dark gray. I based it black. I painted, dry brushed a dark gray, dark brush mid gray, and then did white where I wanted it to kind of pop.
Right.
and it took to it really well. I did black. The armor's black on the cover, so I used the black, which I'm always a little hesitant.
The speed paint black.
Yep, because it's very dark.
Yeah.
And I could see, because I had done white on the edges and stuff, I could see like, okay, it's working fairly well, but black is black, right? It's very thick.
I think it looks great.
Well, what I ended up doing was going in and then kind of lightly just hitting the edges with a dry brush, real light.
Oh, okay.
And so that even pulled out all the edges even further.
Yeah.
I also used the speed paint orc skin
Yeah.
color on the face, and I was like, this is a little too bright for what I want.
Okay.
So how do you solve that? Well, I just put a strong tone wash over there, and boom, done.
So the metal
Claw
teeth on his iron gob.
Yep.
The red, kind of deep burgundy.
Yeah.
Those came out fantastic.
They look really good, don't they?
And that's just one color speed
I
paint?
agree. One coat of speed paint, brother. I mean, it's dry brushed, right?
Sure.
So it got to
Sure.
those stages, and it's one coat of speed paint on it.
Man, they look fantastic.
I was really happy with the way this model came out.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, we always joke. We joke on the thing that everybody ends up becoming an orc player. This got it out of my system.
Wait till you play them. Play them one time. I'll loan you my army one time.
Okay, I'm not. I just. I'll talk about that actually in a minute too. But I am very happy with the way the model came out. And the picture doesn't really show a lot of the detail either, because like it's not a very good picture. But it's good enough that you can see like the black armor, and you can see the ridges, and I mean, everything just came out great. So I ended up surprising Aaron with it. Like, I was so hard. I'm not good at keeping secrets, and it was so hard for me to not, be like, okay, well, look, I'm working on this for you. And I was just like, no, I'm just gonna bring it into the office and just give it to him. And so I brought it.
You should have put it on his desk when he was away at coffee.
I beat him into the office, so I just set it on his desk.
Oh, that's so epic.
And so he came in, and I go, oh yeah, this is for you. And I just felt like it. And the interesting thing about Aaron, and I'm going to get a little mushy here. The interesting thing about Aaron is we tease him a lot, and we give him a hard time, and he takes it all just in stride. We tease you a lot too, and you take it in stride. At the end, we love all our friends very much, and I care about
such
you.
A great guy.
I care about you guys so much. And Aaron always does stuff for people, and I was just like, I want to do something for Aaron. Yep. And I don't think a lot of people do things for Aaron, because I don't think he knew what to say. He was kind of like.
He was verklempt.
It wasn't even just that. It's like I didn't want him to feel like, well, now I have to do something for you.
Right.
No, this is just because I felt like it.
Yeah.
And
he's such a good dude.
He is a great dude. So anyway, did Gazgul Thraka. So that has been my couple weeks. I got a lot done.
Yeah, you did.
Really happy with the progress I made. I'm actually getting kind of excited about painting up the war dogs, to be honest with you. So I have kind of an idea on. You'll
get a lot of practice doing the metallics on the chassis.
You know what? I think I know how I'm going to do those too. I'm going to go spray it with what's the metal?
Lead Belcher.
Lead Belcher. I'm going to spray that all with Lead Belcher, and then I'm going to oil wash down a bunch of it. And I'm going to use some of the what's it called, the
Villainy inks.
The Villainy inks, and weather them up.
Okay.
Why? What's your suggestion?
Well, I took the night class from Caleb.
Yeah.
And so I have a different.
How did he approach it?
Well, he approached it, I mean, kind of similar. Started with a kind of a basic metallic, but he airbrushed in like purples and greens and reds.
I've seen him do that it's done on my Reaver.
Yeah, because if you look at actual pictures of metallic structures and things that, especially if they've been in any kind of stress, those colors kind of come out, and it makes it feel more 3D.
Yeah.
So I would suggest maybe before you throw all the washes and stuff on it, just hit it a little
That's
bit
not a bad idea.
with some of those colors, because it won't be obvious, but it will have an effect.
That's not a bad idea. I think I'll do that.
A thought.
No, I know the exact effect you're talking about, actually. So maybe I'll do that too.
Yeah.
But I don't think that takes very long, especially if you're doing 6 at one time.
No, not at all.
You do that all in one setting.
Yeah. And in fact, if you have something like, do you have any of the old Vallejo ghost inks, ghost colors?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
Because they're almost like washes. I mean, they're very, very lightweight, and just
you know what? I have so many like speed paints and stuff. Like
Yeah,
all
that would
those,
work
all
as well.
those will work as a filter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So,
And I have inks too.
and you could get with one color and go through all of them, and then get another color, go through all of them, and you
Yeah.
could actually batch paint it all.
That will not take long at all.
Not at all.
In fact, here's my commitment. Here's my
No, are
commitment.
we doing commitments?
I'm going to do a commitment.
Okay,
right now.
Mister.
We
like I
used
had
to,
come to
and we
say-
stopped doing it. By the next episode, I will have all the chassis done.
Wow.
Easy peasy.
Okay, I'm just looking at my calendar.
When are we recording next? That's a big order,
That's a big order.
especially with how busy work's
Well,
been.
right now we have the 27th sketched out, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Oh, that's 12 days from now.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll that back. I'm gonna beep that part out. That may not be the case. Oh boy,
that's
Oh
funny.
boy. Okay,
You will have. How about this? You'll have tried it.
they'll all be
start
lead
it.
belcher. We'll see what I can
We'll
carve
see
out.
how you- okay.
Between this and my sim racing career. We'll see
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah.
But even all those things considered, I am very
Yeah.
happy with the progress I made this
It
week.
looks. I mean, it's really cool to see them all together. Like,
Yeah. So, okay. With that said, let's talk games played real quick.
Okay.
You can go first.
3 out of 3. I'm going first in all 3 sections.
That's
all
how
right.
important you are.
Yeah, right. I had a 2,000 point game against my buddy Sean at Geeky Teas and Games in Burbank, California.
Nice.
It's amazing shop.
What's it called?
Geeky Teas and Game, TEAS, because
Drink tea you drink.
yeah,
Yeah.
because they actually have a whole array of different blends of teas
That are all
that
based
have
on nerd
geeky
stuff.
names. Yeah,
Yeah.
like there is Earl Grey hot,
Of course.
right? But there's a ton of other ones, plays on words or things that are
Paladin something and
and some of them actually directly relate to maybe something that was in that IP where there was a tea or a drink or like
that makes
recap
sense.
kind of
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's fun.
There's got to
I mean,
be a Doctor Who thing in there.
Oh yeah, at least one. I think there's a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, what were there? 7, 8 doctors?
At least I think there's like 12.
12. Yeah. So they have a lot of stuff like that. But anyway, it's a really cool place.
David Tennant is the best one. I mean,
Okay.
Matt Smith is maybe second, but
I'm not going down that road. Super large place. They've got, I don't know, maybe a dozen private rooms for people to do role-playing games. And,
Nice.
And the different rooms are themed.
nice.
And then they have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's either 12 or 16 4x8 tables.
Wow. Okay.
In the back.
So good play space.
Yeah, and they have tons of terrain. They have these plastic things you put on the tables to make it a 44x60. So you can easily map out a GW standard game. There is a table fee. I think it's $8. But it's totally worth it for what you have there and what they provide.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, we played there. Sean and I used to work together at the cafe. Super cool guy. He's a Night Lords guy.
Okay.
I've talked about his army before with the Lord that has a hook that pulls the souls out of people, and his cultists are ghosts from their night hunt from Age of Sigmar. I talked about that before because I played him on 4th of July. I think it was 4th of July, something like that. Anyway, so we used the current chapter-approved cards. This time we did not do an asymmetric mission. We had done those before, and he and I realized that we've only ever done asymmetric missions out of that card pack. So I was like, oh, let's just do a regular one. And so we played, and I brought one of the problems with moving.
Does you have to organize all your stuff?
You have to, I wasn't going to say it out loud, but since you went there, yeah. But I end up, like I have a ton of my modeling stuff in Northern California, but all my paints are still in Southern California.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what army do I actually have in Southern California left that I can use? And I opened up a case like, oh, good, all my AdMech stuff's in here. So in this one case, I actually have my 2,000 point AdMech army all ready to go.
Gotcha.
Because from, I guess, the last time I used it.
Yep.
It's like, oh, great. And then my AdMech Codex is in Northern California. So I don't like playing only from the app. But
I do.
But I did.
I do. I 100% just play from the app.
So what I do, and I did it for this, is I go to the web, and there's websites out there that have all the current data slates for all the armies. And I print out the data slates in half-page size and put it in a binder. so I can flip through
You do
quickly.
whatever you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an old man. I like seeing it like that.
Yeah, I get the tactile piece of it
Yeah.
too.
The other thing that I do is like the AdMech has protocols. You can either do protector protocol or
whatever the other one is.
the assault one. And so I have a little card, and each turn I can flip it back and forth. It reminds me what protocol.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's actually a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
Really.
And the other thing with the robots detachment is then if you have the data smith, each one of those data smiths can make each unit of the robots have a different protocol, sub protocol to the larger protocol, which I did wrong when I was playing here at your house.
Is that when you gave all your robots feel no pain?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so I had done that wrong before, and so I was going back over it, and so I had little tokens for that too, so I could mark each unit, so I wouldn't lose track of what I'm doing, and it was interesting to be able to play. As it turns out, I just didn't have enough units to do all the secondaries that I needed to do, and so I was doing great early on, but as the secondaries were rolling in, because unlike Knights, which we'll talk about later, it's hard to do actions if you don't have a lot of units.
Yeah,
because
totally.
You need your units to be able to do stuff, and if you're doing an action, then you're stuck.
Yeah.
And so
There's nothing worse than taking a unit that's like meant to fight, like Terminators, and having them do an action because they're out of position. You're just like, well, this is a waste of 250 points.
Right.
Yeah, I've been there. Why are my Terminators holding this objective? Because I don't have anything else to hold
to do it. Yeah. But like his army is set up really well. Like he used his cultists turn one, holding an objective. Well, his cultists have the ability to make them sticky.
Yeah.
So he just fed him in as a speed bump to one of my units, and he didn't care.
No.
And I realized at the end of the game, oh, you baited me into wasting all my shots on that unit that didn't matter.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't matter until it gets on another objective.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, everything has a use. But I hear what you're saying.
And then he modified his army. He changed the list from the time I played him last, and he had his Jump Lord, which has the uppy downy kind of ability.
And he goes into reserve and comes back out of reserve.
Right. And he left him solo.
Okay.
So he could jump into the backfield and hold an objective.
Oh, interesting.
Or jump somewhere else and
jump out.
Right. And so
well, that's a cool idea.
Yeah. But what it meant was he was farming 20 point or a lot of points, 10, 15. I mean, he was farming
more
like
points than you were.
15 or 20 points a turn
yeah.
because he had the one objective that was sticky, but even with nothing on it.
That's smart.
And he had the Jump Lord.
That's very clever.
And so I couldn't get all the places to knock down that farming.
Right.
And so every turn I was falling 10, 15 points farther behind.
Sounds like my game.
Because he had because the mission we had is if you were holding an objective in the other person's deployment zone, it was worth more points.
Right.
So I was like, when I got to turn 3, I'm like, oh, I'm in deep kimchi here.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it was a fun game. We always have a great time when we're playing, and the setting, the place is really nice. So
yeah, I looked
Thanks,
at pictures of it. It looked great.
Yeah,
it looked great. What else?
Played Clash of Rifles with Anthony.
Is that another game?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go too far into it, but Zombie Smith, who makes the Quar, which Jeff is really into.
Yep.
They make stuff in plastic now.
Oh.
War Games Atlantic does all their plastics for them. War Games Atlantic, we could do a whole nother 15, 20 minutes just on what happened with War Games Atlantic.
We'll do some bonus stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so their new game is called Clash of Rifles. They previewed it and demoed it at LVO. And Dave Gormley and I were there, and he played a little demo of it. And then I said to Anthony, hey, let's just play a whole game instead of just the demo. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, actually, I almost never get to play my own games.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
Because he's one of the the rules developer. And so, so I went to his house.
I haven't seen him in a long time. I hope he's doing well.
Oh, he's doing great.
That's good.
Yeah, he's doing great. And Zombie Smith is doing really well. And so that's all really awesome.
All right.
So I got to play with him, and I'm not going to go too deep into it other than to say it's a fun game. It's a skirmish game, but it has a lot of there's a lot of levers you can pull. So there's a lot of stacked modifiers and things like that. So you really have to there's a lot more thinking involved instead of just going up and punching somebody in the mouth, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I traveled down to Southern California at the beginning of the year. Travis was lamenting the fact that he was playing a lot of competitive 40K games and wasn't quite enjoying it as much. And I said, "Oh, you got to play with me. I think I've talked about this." So
you guys have been doing this 3-game arc.
We set up a quarterly day
right.
that I would go down there, he would come up here, and it kind of became more of a group thing.
So you traveled to Travis this time.
So I traveled down there. I traveled down to Cheyenne's house. It was Cheyenne and Tom came with us, and Lars came.
Looked like a decent group.
And Travis and myself.
Well, except for Lars.
Well, except for Campos, because he doesn't play 40K anymore. So anyway, we go down there, and first off, Cheyenne just fed us.
He's such a great host.
Dude, he knows how to cook, too.
Yeah, he's a great host.
Man, he was an amazing host. We had a great time. I'll tell you offline about another game we played. But anyway, but my intention of going down there was this was the final of our 3-part games.
Yep.
We were doing a 3,000 point game.
This was the big one.
This is the first 3,000 point game of 40K I've played. And
really?
In 10th Ed.
Oh, in 10th Ed. Okay.
So I went down there with my 1,000 Suns, which was this is what it's been, 1,000 Suns versus Space Wolves. Right. A couple of things. One, it was a custom mission that I had designed, and I overlooked something that really caused me to get punched in the face real hard, real fast. So the game started, and this is actually my least favorite kind of deployment, but I did it anyway. Go ahead.
So when you noticed the error that you made, did you talk to him about it? Maybe change it on the fly?
No, we didn't. I'll talk about that in a minute. This is the final game, so the score is this is actually when we were going to score. And basically, I started in the center of the table.
Oh, okay.
Which I really had to cram my army into the center of the table.
Oh, I know which deployment you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I took it from a card.
Right.
He could actually deploy from
4 corners, right?
Actually, he could deploy from, we decided, any 3 sides.
Oh, okay.
So it left one side open to me.
Right.
And there were 4 objectives on the table that were kind of in between the center of the table and each arm.
Yep.
It was a city board. And so as we set up and I realized, I'm running out of space here. We also said one thing we did on the fly, say, well, if I run out of space, those things could just go back in reserve. It's fine. You just put them in reserve. They come through the gate at the center of the table.
Right.
The
gate at the center of the table, not off the open end.
Right.
Oh, cool.
So what I should have done, though, in retrospect, was I should have said, I'm starting in the center of the table. I go first.
Oh.
Had I gone first, there was plenty of stuff for him to hide behind. I could have spread out.
Yep.
Right. And it would have been a more interactive game. That's the one thing I played with the idea, and I was like, no, I don't want to be too advantageous. If I were to do it again, that is how we would play it. And I think the mission is fine. You got 5 points for every objective you held. Yep. There were 4. It was very straightforward.
Right. Did you do the control 1, control 2, I control more than you?
No.
Okay.
It's
straight 5 points.
Straight 5 points.
Okay.
He got 15 points around. I got 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turn 1 assault for the Space Wolves into
my God.
My vehicle explodes, damages other parts of my units.
Man.
It was just like a complete disaster right from the beginning for the 1,000
points.
Suns.
Did you play on a 4x8 at least?
No, we played on a 4x6. And then the other thing I would say is, here's the other thing, and this is the big learning from this. Other than that, that's fine. Actually, I don't care that I lost the game. It was so much fun. We had a great time. As a DM of Dungeons and Dragons stuff, I always put monsters out there to be killed, and that's why I never get upset when my chaos guys lose. I'm the freaking bad guys,
Right. You want stuff to blow up.
I like winning, but I'm okay with losing too.
That's one of the things I like about playing the robots, because I play all of the Castellan robots.
Yeah.
They have deadly demise, each one of them.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, come on, blow up.
Yeah. Oh, I had at least 3 things explode in this game. So anyway, he got a first turn charge. He's into me. I'm moving stuff around. I'm coming out. By the time the second round rolls around, I've lost 2 or 3 of my most important units. I'm like, oh no. I have some Terminators in reserve. I have Magnus in reserve. This was the thing. He brought a Knight, and I brought Magnus. And I usually don't run Magnus. Magnus did great until he got killed, but he did actually really good until he got killed.
Did you do the Magnus versus Knight? You had to do that.
No, we didn't. I actually did Magnus versus Logan Gremnar. Because Logan now doesn't have his sled. Remember, he lost his sled in the first mission.
Yeah.
And so, Logan came back looking for revenge. And he actually didn't kill Magnus. A huge amount of blood claws attacked Magnus and dragged him down the final wounds that he had. I will say the game was absolutely fantastic. The other learning point here is this. I have not been playing Thousand Sons. I've been playing my Black Legion.
Oh, it's a different style of play.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
I was so out of practice. I was like, this rule must have changed. It must be new. Nope, it's been there.
From the beginning.
I went and looked at the codex and compared. I'm like, how did I not know? And this is, oh my God, like I really shorted myself here.
Are you saying that all the robots don't feel no pain?
What I'm saying, nothing in my favor. I'll tell you that much. What I'm saying is Travis has been playing exclusively Space Wolves, and he's been playing tough opponents.
Yes, he knows them well.
He's getting better,
Yeah.
like way better. I was at a severe disadvantage both on the table and then how the game played out. But so much, like, look, I realized early on, I'm like, uh-oh, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm going to punch him in the nose as hard as I can before I go down.
Yeah, you start thinking about your sub goals. I'm going to kill that guy.
His
I'm going to kill
brand
that unit.
new painted wolf
that
knight.
had to go.
Why? It was new and painted. Yeah, it should die. I didn't even bother with it because he missed like almost everything with it. Like multiple rounds. It did nothing. It was virtually worthless. Like,
oh man.
And he's just like, that's the case of first turn jitter, first game jitters.
First game jitters.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a great series. It was a great conclusion. He was able to send Magnus back to the warp and, hold off the Thousand Suns and regain control of the planet. And so victory to the Space Wolves.
Nice.
And just a absolutely fun series of games. Absolutely fun.
That's
terrific.
terrific. So how did you find playing a game that size with the regular rules?
It was fine. It was fine. Especially because there was a first turn charge.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. I was gonna say. Yeah,
that's what I was literally like. Well, this is going to be a very fast 3,000 point game. So I didn't even care that it was a first turn charge. The problem was everything was so close.
Yeah, so
like again, if I'd had first turn, I'd spread out, and then you got first turn charge. That's fine. I don't care.
Right, because things are much more spread out. And you can use the gate in the middle that way.
Yeah. And it's because we realized like everything's still crowded in. Like Magnus can't come out of the gate.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, let's just have him deep strike in. And my Terminator's deep strike in.
Right.
That's fine.
And, here's the thing.
So that was on the fly.
Right. And so that brings up my point about custom missions is sometimes, and it pays to have somebody who's down for it. You go through the thing, and I've done this with Ethan and a couple other folks where we talk about what the mission is going to be, and then we start playing and go.
We joked about re-racking.
We need to change this, right? I didn't realize you were going to do that, and it totally doesn't make sense. And they go, oh yeah, you're right, it doesn't make sense. Let's make this tweak.
We joked about re-racking at one point, but it's just like, it was too many models. I'm not going to do it.
So it didn't end up taking much longer than a normal 2,000 point game.
It was a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And some of that is my fault because like I'd have to look up rule. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Again, my fault. It made me also really consider, do I need any more armies?
Right.
Like if I'm struggling to
good point.
Bounce between these two, like now I'm adding a knight army to the mix, and I have sisters I still haven't even played yet.
Right.
Like, can my brain only hold so much? And
there's
true.
As I'm doing this moving thing, there's armies that I haven't touched.
Yeah.
Like I have a full 2,000 point all Wraith Guard.
You probably haven't played in forever.
Eldar army.
I haven't played that in forever.
I have not played that in 10th at all.
Yeah.
Custodes army. I think I played it the first month of 10th.
So I think in this case you need to look at, as we talked about in the collecting thing, like what brings you joy here. Right. I do like having these shelves full of nicely painted armies behind me with their little labels and all this stuff. And I do like working on this stuff. I like painting to a point.
Right.
So yeah, okay. Maybe I won't get to my sisters in 10th because 11th is probably around the corner.
Right.
Let me see if I can get these knights on the table real quick, and have some fun.
Yeah.
Or stick with my black. I'm loving playing my Black Legion. Why rotate? I told Travis next time it's Black Legion versus something because I'm just so focused on the Black Legion at this point. So anyway, so that was my experience. I think it was a great weekend. We had a great time. Absolute fun. And Travis is, as always, excellent opponent. I wanted to get a second game in, but honestly, I was beat after
Yeah.
after the drive and all that. I was
Yeah.
just like, I don't have it in me. So
Yeah.
again, not a tournament player. I can't do it. I don't know how those guys do 3 and 4
Three,
games
yeah.
a turn
Or
a day sometimes. It's crazy.
Because at Adepticon,
There was one time where they had to do 4 games.
yeah, Adepticon, there's like 3. It's like 3 or 4 days of it
Yeah.
because of all the cut downs.
I can't do it.
No.
I get my fill after one game. Like generally. Like I play one game and I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, like the flex doing 2 games in a day.
by the end of 2, I'm like, I'm really done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the way the flex is set up, I don't know if I could do 2 days in a row of the flex,
Yeah.
but 1 day, 2 games, that works for
I don't
me.
know if I've said it, but like everything's submitted for the flex. It's going to run Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
All 4 days. Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's all 4 days. It's all set. I've submitted everything. They haven't opened the thing yet, but yeah, I mean it's going to be run. It's going to be better than last year too because we're using Longshanks for the pairing, so it'll just be a lot faster.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've been talking a little bit with Hank and such.
So maybe one day I plan it, one day I help you run it.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be awesome. All right. Okay, so we're going to take a break and we will be right back. All right, and we're back. We're actually joined by a special guest.
Yeah.
Liz, say hi.
Well, hi.
You are a prominent member of our Discord community, and as we were talking about doing this show, Adon said, "What if we got Liz?" And we had just seen your knights. You had just been playing with your knights, and I was like commenting on how beautiful I thought they were. And I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, Adon, make it happen." So, next thing I know, you're coming back to me. Well, where's the show? I'm like, "Oh, did Adon talk to you?" I guess he did. So,
Be careful what you wish for. I have to do it.
We have just completed our 1 hour hobby progress and games played section.
Yes.
Which it was some of us catching up to, Adon and I catching up. But having done that, I realized, as I said at the beginning of the show, we may have bitten off more than we can chew, combining the Imperial and Chaos Knight Codex into one overview. So I think what we'll do is we'll focus on the Imperial Knights Codex.
Yep.
We'll make this part 1 of this. And then next, 2 weeks from now, whatever our recording date is, I think you said 27th or something.
I think that's what it is.
We will do part 2 where we will talk all about the Chaos part of this.
We could do a 3-game arc, and then the third one could be about Titans.
You know what? That's a very interesting idea, Don.
Oh, wow. I was kidding, but yeah.
I never considered. You just gave me an idea for a show.
Even bigger.
You've now contributed one idea for a show. That's fantastic.
Oh.
How much you getting paid for ideas?
Yeah, a lot. Almost as much as I get paid per show.
I got enough idea, guys. But that's actually an interesting idea. Maybe it steps up.
Yep.
Right? Like, okay. All right. Well, anyway, let's focus on Imperial Knights.
Let's do that.
All right. Adon, you're driving this show. Take it away.
Yeah. So Imperial Knights, they have been around for a little bit, probably about half the life of 40K in terms of editions. So as Liz pointed out, when we were in our notes, they started actually in 6th edition.
I didn't realize that.
I
didn't realize it was that far back.
Yeah, 6th edition, all the way back in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And Liz, you remember how Knights ended up in 40K in the first place?
How they ended up in 40K in the first place?
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, I remember the box set, but I don't remember the story behind it, I don't think.
Well, you actually pointed out to us that they were actually an epic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And they they actually looked like knights, like horses and gorillas and stuff.
That's right.
Some of them did. Yeah. In Epic or Space Marine, as it was called at the time, there were multiple ranks of knights. So you had like squires, and you had knights, and you had lords, and they came in very different shapes from where they are now. Like some of them were walkers, but some of them were basically centaurs. Like the Eldar ones were.
But these were all at epic scale, right?
Epic scale.
Yeah,
Yeah. They were tiny.
But I had to go actually look it up because you put in Eldar Horses.
I remember that.
And I was like, I have to go look this up because I had forgotten about those. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely worth a search to look at those old models.
But into 40K though.
Yeah. So in 40K, they started out first in Forge World with Horus Heresy. Mm-hmm. And there was this clamor to bring Horus Heresy stuff into 40K, and they were all Forge World stuff. Mm-hmm. And then that's kind of how they said, okay, we're going to bring them into 40K.
Yeah. Here was kind of my problem with that at the time too. What they did was in Horus Heresy, the first edition of Horus Heresy.
And this was actually in 5th ed, 40K.
Yeah, you could Horus Heresy was actually 7th ed.
No, it's I'm saying that
at the time 7th edition, 40K is out. Maybe 6th edition, Horus Heresy comes out, and it's a variation of those 7th edition rules. It was the
6th edition rules.
6th, 7th. They didn't change a lot. I said this was the best way to play 7th edition was Horus Heresy. That's how I always said it did come out at that time. It was out after 5th edition. I'm sure of it. So I'm also wrong sometimes. So you're looking at me like, uh-oh. Anyway,
well, because
my point here.
Do you have a point?
Yes. Is that in 6th and 7th edition, they introduced a Lord of War into the Force Org.
Right. Yes.
Now, the problem I had with that was in Horus Heresy gaming, your Lord of War had to be a certain percentage of your points for your army, which would mean like you're not getting a knight or a titan on the table unless you are playing a significantly large game.
Right.
But in 40K, they were just like, nah, bring it.
Right.
It's just a Force Org chart. There's no other limitation.
Right.
So that really, to me, threw off the scale of the game and threw off the balance significantly, where all of a sudden you were trying to deal with this thing that was just really powerful.
Yeah,
that was my take on it.
And maybe Liz remembers better than I do, but I thought that they were in 40K well before they had their own codex.
I don't know the answer to that. So that's why I had in mind 8th edition, because I think 8th edition was the
first time they had their own book.
The first own codex. And that may be the case. It may be that they were like a supplemental add-on.
Maybe that's what it was.
I do not remember them earlier than 8th edition.
In 6th edition, the box set that they came out with was only the Paladin and the Errant.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it only had the 2 variants, and it really wasn't an army unto itself.
Right.
And 6th edition was kind of it had that vibe of the codex supplements, like a lot of stuff that is now folded into other things. I've got a Scion's army was a codex supplement.
That's right. That's right.
Now, did that one come out as part of the APOC releases of the day? Or
the Knights Codex?
No, the Knights box.
I think it was just.
I think it was
just
standalone.
I think it was just standalone.
Its own thing.
Yeah, because I remember also when it came out, people were like, "Well, if you could do this, how come you can't do a Thunderhawk?"
Yep.
Ad
it was
nauseum.
one of the biggest.
Reset the clock.
The biggest things in 40K at the time.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. That's a good point. So, okay, we go through 6th and 7th edition. 8th edition was, I believe, their first full codex.
Yes.
Like I do recall,
but they were playable in 6th and 7th.
I do recall the 7th edition, like Imperial Knights, but it's almost like it was a hardbound, very thin splat book, if I recall correctly.
There was an in-between stage, because initially it was just like one box with 2 variants, and then they came out with another box that had multiple additional variants, and that really broadened the range of the big knights, and the armigers were out at the same time. So I don't recall specifically. I'm not great at historical dates,
and my research on it wasn't particularly clear. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think the very first standalone Imperial Knights Codex was in 8th edition. Yeah, because it was after they changed away from templates and things like that.
That's right. Yep. You guys are probably more accurate than I am. So, 8th edition, January, no?
You could definitely play knights with templates.
Yeah, you could play with them.
Yeah, I'm saying that they didn't get their own book and their own standalone codex until the switch to 8th.
Right.
Gotcha.
So January 1st, 2018, I have as the first published date for the 8th edition codex, which is in my mind the first full-on
standalone
codex. Yeah,
it's a fully fledged, fully realized army.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the other key point. You brought it up too, Liz, was you could add them into armies, but there was not like a knight army at that point. I think it became its own thing in 8th edition. And
it took a while.
Yeah. And it was a
controversial
and
thing.
remains, I think, to this day, a little bit of a controversial. Like there was people who like, if you want to play knights, I don't even want to play against you.
That happened.
A lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot. People were hesitant and they felt like it was overpowered and they couldn't do anything against
Well, if you
it.
remember, this was also 6th and 7th in particular was also during the time where people said that anything from Forge World was overpowered.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Even though that wasn't always true.
Yeah.
And knights came.
It was because a couple things were.
Right.
I mean.
Yeah. But even to this day, there are knights that you can play that are Forge World only.
Yeah. Yeah.
Therefore, Forge World doesn't exist as a separate website anymore.
They're specialist games.
They're specialist games, but they are the ones who make the resin stuff.
Oh no, they don't even call them specialist games. Like that particular thing, it's called like expert model or
Expert
something
models,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Anything that's resin is called an expert model.
Yeah. For good reason.
Which is fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
No, yeah.
Forge World models, the big ones. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a beast. So so we have the 8th edition codex comes out full of drama, as we just said. 9th edition codex comes out again May 28th, 2022, so 4 years later.
Yeah.
By the way, I think 6th edition was also like the shortest live edition of 40K.
Yeah, that might be true.
It feel like it came and went real fast and then they went to 7th. And now we have June 18th, 2025, so 3 years later, the 10th edition.
It's weird that it was
I
that
didn't catch that
long ago.
It's not that long ago. It
Oh,
only
really?
hit shelves like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Why do I have June 18th?
I don't know because
Maybe that's when it was announced.
there's no way that it's that late. That long ago.
What are we in? We're in. Oh no, I have
It
the
released
date
like in
wrong.
September.
Yeah, you're right. You guys are right.
Yeah.
I bet this is when they announced
it. Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff going on this year, and if you look back at my Discord post, you'll find me pretty much every week like, oh, no news about Imperial Knights.
Oh, I remember
but, like,
that.
They gave us the preview sheet of like what codexes were coming out at what point in the year.
Yep.
And for the past few editions,
The roadmap.
Imperial Knights and Codex or Chaos Knights have been like bundled together. Essentially, they release about the same time.
Yeah,
And it
And
felt
we
like
got
they
the
kept.
Chaos Knights release a while ago.
Yeah, it felt like they kept kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, you are
Yeah.
correct. I have the date
Yeah.
wrong here. So it's
There-
I would say it's probably more.
September.
Is it? Yeah, just last
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 weeks. 3 weeks is what I've got in my
Okay.
head.
Perfect.
3-4 weeks, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep. September.
All right. So here we sit, September. You get the Imperial Knights Codex. Let's go into it. Don, take it away. Sorry,
Yeah. So
I didn't realize I took over the questioning.
no, you're. It's almost like you run the podcast.
Sorry.
So knights are their own thing now, and there's still a lot of things you can use from the quote unquote expert model line in Forge World, but we're starting to see more and more of them come into plastics, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But let's go back into a little bit of how they fit into 40K in terms of the origins of them and the dark age of technology, and kind of roll on from there. So they first appeared or were created as part of how colonists survived on a far-flung planet during the colonization process. So it was super interesting to me. So colony ships were designed to land on planets and then become cannibalized, right? And then the knight suits were kind of their protection vehicles for defending them from whatever happened to be on the planet.
Right.
Because some of the environments were rather hostile.
Yeah.
And then they became kind of central to, the control of the knights end up then becoming central to kind of a feudal society occurs on these the worlds that ended up being night worlds.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the worlds where these settlers inhabited, and then especially as they fall into like a period of darkness of 10,000 years where they lose touch with Terra, they're out of touch with everybody, and it makes sense that a feudal society kind of builds up around. Plus, you have these people who are piloting these knights that are stronger than everybody around them. Right. So, of course, they kind of start running things, and okay, so now I'm going to protect you, but you're going to pay me a tithe or whatever the case may be. Like, I see how it slips into that kind of society pretty easily.
Yeah. So the as you say, they kind of develop into this hierarchical society.
Yeah.
And it feels very medieval in the way that they have lords and barons and scions and the whole bit, and it has to do a lot with family lines and your connections to the royal family, so to speak. So they start developing traditions of honor and loyalty, and then kind of see their role as their duties is the service to the Imperium, and specifically Forge Worlds. So a lot of the knight, there's not a lot of discussion, and Liz, jump in here at any point, but to me, there's not a lot of discussion about how a world develops into a knight world as opposed to when it doesn't, because allegedly all of the colony ships were similar, but some of them ended up being knight worlds and some of them didn't.
So are you referring to how some of them are more Adeptus Mechanicus?
No, I'm talking about the fact that not every colony world ended up as a knight world.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I think you probably have, like, where you're going to a world where everything's completely untamed and you need to establish, an entire planet where you don't have a huge, like, these are settlers, right? It's not like you are arriving in a huge armada that then...
Right. But my point is that some of these planets, the knight suits, which were the protection detail, ended up evolving into these knight worlds.
Right.
But other planets, which had the exact same gear, did not develop into knight worlds. And I think the difference might be the environment.
Yeah, I think the environment really lends itself well to it, because if you land on a planet and there is a hostile environment, then these knight suits are used to fight.
Right.
But they were also used as beasts of burden, essentially.
Yes.
So if you land on a knight planet and the only reason that you're using this big giant machine is to blast apart rocks, that's not exactly a hugely honorable position. That
or cultivate fields or whatever.
Yeah. Or cultivate fields or chop down trees or what have you.
Right.
Then they're not necessarily going to evolve into the leaders, just like forklift drivers don't in our modern world necessarily.
Right.
So I think that comes of it. And then, on the flip side of it, the classic story of like, well, there were beasts everywhere and, only the most heroic among us could stand against them.
Right.
That lends itself into more of a hierarchical kind of culture. And I mean, both night houses and non-night house worlds, lots of them died during the Age of Strife.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's worth revisiting the fact that this was the initial colonization of the stars by humanity in the age of technology, and they were cut off from everybody for thousands of years. They couldn't travel the warp, they couldn't contact anybody, and now they came back out of the darkness, and some of them were very different, and I'm sure some of them, the Great Crusade, got murdered because they were no longer human or didn't want to accept the Imperium or what have you.
Right. Yeah, they didn't bend the knee. Yeah.
Probably also has a little bit to do with what's around you, right? I mean, not just your environment, but like what resource support you have around you as well. Like if you're in a star system where our neighbor is, also set up and been very successful. Right. I mean, there's probably there's 1,000 different reasons why something would become a night world and something would not.
Would not, right, yeah.
But it's a good, like Liz actually brought up a really good point that I hadn't considered, that like some of them just got wiped out. And so,
Yep, they talk about
not everyone was successful.
Yeah, yeah. So once they kind of got rediscovered, and then they started building those bonds back up with the Mechanicum, and a lot of them were connected directly to Forge Worlds. Because out in the stars, these planets were designed as Forge Worlds, and they would have night houses that would be kind of directly connected with them. And so most houses that ended up kind of serving Forge Worlds or being connected to Forge Worlds.
I do find it interesting that some went that route and others were able to maintain their independence a bit, right? They're still associated with the Imperium, but they're allowed to like maintain like we're a night house, not a Mechanicum night house.
And that a lot of that comes because of there's a tension between them and the Mechanicum.
I guess it's Mechanicus at this point.
Mechanicus. Yeah. And because the tech priests still see these suits as like
their
holy relics.
Yeah.
And the nobles are like, screw you, these are ours.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's tension there. But
it's interesting that some are allowed to, okay, we're going to let you kind of operate independently. You still, you're still beholden to the Imperium.
Right.
We're not going to not accept that, but okay, fine.
Much like they have tech marines for space marines, there are, how would you pronounce that, Liz? Sacristans?
Sacristans. Yeah, is how I would say it.
Yeah. So the sacristans, they end up training for, I think it's a decade, right? For like a decade with the Mechanicus.
Just to learn how to work on the knights.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, if you kind of read through the stuff, a lot of times the sacristans, unbeknownst to the house worlds, are actually like full-blown tech priests, and they're kind of like eyes and ears for the Mechanicus.
Sure.
Out in the world.
Yeah.
And so some of them, their loyalties may not be as good as they should be.
I think that's
house.
Actually, you go spend 10 years with some group that trains you a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You like it, or they make it so you like it. You're absolutely gonna.
Right.
Where do my loyalties lie?
The flip side of that, I think, is that sacristans already existed before the Mechanicum showed up. So they've been maintaining the knights for thousands of years, and they have, their own traditions, and they're steeped in, especially these feudal cultures are all about, taking care of these knights. And they even get kind of cliquey, like there's different houses of sacristans that would take care of like, oh, well, we only do chain swords, and we only do the engine, and we only do like the hydraulic system and whatnot.
So like Amco, they only do transmissions.
Yeah. And they of course they
for those
they
people in
heads.
Europe and otherwhere, Amco is
it's a transmission shop anyway. Old ads they used to do.
But I think that's part of the divide between Questor Imperialis and Questor Mechanicus is there's pride in this established system of like, well, we don't need you guys.
Right.
Like, we can ally with you guys, but we don't need you guys.
Hey, we spent 10,000 years on our own. We're fine.
Exactly. How do you think we survived? Just because you guys want to drool over our big machines doesn't mean we have to give them to you.
Well, it's interesting because I wonder if this now plays into what happens with the Horus Heresy. So if we talk about loyalists versus traitors, right, as we roll into the heresy, I wonder how much of that tension feeds into, hey, we don't need you guys. We like what this Horus guy is doing, so we're going to jump over there, because it adds to their sense of independence. So many houses stayed loyal to the emperor.
And many did.
And many didn't. So the ones that turned traitor, right, I wonder how much of that folded in and made sense with them in their minds as to the split they already had with the Mechanicus, which was their connection to the Imperium.
Yeah, and I think to some degree, during the Horus Heresy, as Horus is encroaching closer and closer to Terra, and the Terra forces are pulling back.
Right.
Like, worlds are left on their own, and Horus is so powerful at this point. Like, he shows up and he's like, you join me or die. I mean, you really don't have a choice. There is no choice. That's the only choice you have.
Well, there's a great story, actually, and it's in it's in the Siege of Terra books, I believe, where one of the houses starts fighting alongside Horus, and one of the loyal houses is like, hey, do you guys understand what's actually happening with this heresy thing? This horsey thing? And they are like, oh, wait, we're on the wrong side. And the way I read it, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but the way I read it, they basically ask the emperor for forgiveness.
I don't remember.
And say, hey, we didn't realize what we were doing. And he actually sends them into the webway.
I don't remember
that battle of the webway. This house, and I'm trying to remember the name of the house.
And that's kind of
their penance. That's how I saw it.
Oh, interesting. I don't remember this. That's fascinating. Do you remember that, Liz? Did you read that series?
I read the Siege of Terra, but I don't remember that specifically.
I don't remember that.
I did miss 1 or 2 books though.
Well, if you ever need them, Carl has them all in limited edition. Yeah. So
never again will I buy a limited edition.
Yeah,
never again. Okay, so regardless of that, as we said, you have feudal and kind of noble culture that builds up around this, and it's pretty pervasive. And I mean, for heck's sake, they're called knights. I mean,
right? Yeah.
I mean, it kind of feeds right into it.
So some of the houses do split off to the traders, and then so here in the 41st millennium, they're kind of like that knights in space, this medieval in space kind of aesthetic, right? And these noble houses locked in duty and honor and tradition.
I mean, it fits right alongside Space Marines. I mean, realistically, Space Marines are space knights,
right?
And
they fight alongside Imperial forces, but only when they decide that their help is actually needed, either in defense of a homeworld or as in the case of like Hawkshroud, as a matter of honor.
And I mean, it should be said, like, I don't know if they're producing more of these suits at this point, or if they're just
refurbishing the ones
they had. Like, I don't know where that has landed in terms of the storyline, but there was a point where it was,
well, when they were disconnected from everything, they didn't have the resources to make these
I
suits.
get that, but I guess that's not true, because I mean, the Adeptus Mechanicus can work on this stuff and probably build. I imagine, I don't know if they have STCs for them. I guess they would, to be able to do that.
Right.
I can't give a definitive answer, but it seems like they would be making more of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they're just very costly to make. Like it's costly to make Titans, right? I mean, otherwise, why wouldn't you just make 1 billion Titans? Well, you wouldn't, because they take a lot of resources, but also requires very specific people to kind of drive them too.
Right.
Okay.
It's when we're talking about this split with the Horus Heresy and the split of the households, I always chuckle sometimes about some of the names that they use for the knight houses and things like that. House Divine is one of the houses.
What's your problem?
Is one of the houses that went to Horus. And guess which god they favor?
Slaanesh.
You got it.
Of course they do. Of course
because they are divine. Yes, but there's multiple cases of names that are kind of funny like that. But anyway, but as I said, some of the Siege of Terra books have some really cool examples of knight and titan battles, the battles at the wall, the charge into the webway. What's the Nightblade? Knights. What's the
Freeblade?
Well, the one before that. I wrote it down.
I don't know. You asked a question that I don't know the answer to.
I know. I wrote it down in the notes. Anyways, the novel that is the prequel to the first one in the Freeblade series.
Oh, okay.
But it talks a lot about the loyal knights and the traitor knights, and there's some great battles in those books actually, by Andy Clark.
We'll get to those books later.
Anyway, so the knights end up being kind of the muscle for Forge Worlds. They're like they're protectors, and there's Liz. You want to talk a little bit about the difference between the Mechanicus Knights and the Questoris Knights?
Yeah. So I mean, they culturally they look different. They're culturally different in the sense of being somewhat independent for the Imperialis side, and the Mechanicus side being very loyal to the Adeptus Mechanicus and getting more resources and more tech and more sort of build enhanced to them. And as far as like real world, our world kind of stuff, the split often lies along a lot of the Imperialis stuff comes out in plastic, and the Forge World stuff comes out in resin.
Right.
So the Mechanicus stuff is all resin, except for there are Mechanicus badges that you can add to the
that's
plastic
interesting.
kits.
I didn't think about it that way, but you're right. A lot of the Mechanicus Knights are still resin Knights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I love. Oh, that's what a great connection. I didn't even think about
And
that.
sold out everywhere.
Still come from Forge World.
Yeah.
They come from the Forge World.
Spiritually.
Yeah.
Spiritually.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, House Raven is like deeply tied to the Forge World Metallica, right?
This is actually the house I chose later in the thing.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, so I know actually quite a bit about House Raven.
So it's interesting because Metallica had its issues during the heresy.
Sure.
I mean, in the era of ruined short stories, there's actually a Metallica tech priest who turns on people in the middle of the story. And so there's a lot of, that they have their issues during the
well, really the reason they connected with that Forge World specifically, we can talk about this later, but I'll just mention it now, is they were about to collapse.
Right.
As Liz said earlier, like some of these night houses just failed, and they were one that was like, we're about to collapse. We can't keep up with the repairs. We can't do anything. And then, Metallica happened to show up.
Right.
And they had an ambassador, I think his name's Gregor, and he's kind of their first ambassador, and he kind of reached out and was like, hey, we can help each other
you guys out.
here.
Yeah. So you have basically two different styles of knights. You've got the Mechanicum heavy knights, and you've got the Questoris knights, which are kind of more on their own kind of thing. And you see that play out in the models that are available. Go fast forward down into more of the modern times, quote unquote, of 40K, and they show up pretty heavily in the Indominus Crusade. They have a lot of battles that knights are involved in with the Indominus Crusade. And Gilliman uses them as kind of rapid response, kind of shock forces, kind of
makes sense. They're probably easier to deploy than Titans for one.
Right.
And
right.
They're more mobile.
Right.
They're often supporting Titans too. So
right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. They hit the ground running and they make a huge impact without like troop landers and I mean, you really just have the suit and one guy per night, or one pilot per night. And
not to mention like the armigers that go with them, right? Like they got even more support there too. So
yeah, because the ships, so the Titans come down in these huge coffin ships, massive ships, and the knights can travel much easier.
Probably a little bit smaller ships, more of them, a little bit smaller, right?
Exactly. Is there a specific name for the Titan transports? I don't know.
I don't remember what they call them specifically,
but I remember
we'll know that in the Titan episode.
There you go.
But they're
just Titan dropships. I mean,
right? But the Knight dropships are more like drop pods because they hit the ground and they pop
and
up and they can come striding right out of them.
Titan, all the stories. No, all the stories of Titans when they come down in these massive ships, it's like a huge there's like a huge fanfare and all this stuff, and the doors come down and they move them out. Like it's not a rapid response.
No, I mean they're basically bringing their own garage with them, right? I mean it's what it is. It's a whole.
It takes an army to support a Titan.
Yeah,
so,
we're burning content for the Titan episode.
Yeah, let's shut up. I like this idea about a Titan episode.
Okay, so Indominus Crusade is one of the things. Sanctus Reach, which is all against the orcs.
Against the orcs,
Yep.
Sanctus Reach campaign against
Gruck Face Ripper.
Yeah. Love orc names.
I love the orc names. Yeah. So
fighting Gargants. I mean, orcs not just vehicles and orcs themselves, but orcs have larger vehicles that require that kind of destruction as well.
Right. And then House Terran was the one that was the most prominent in the Sanctus Reach stuff. I'm trying to remember what novel that was in.
Yeah, I don't,
because I remember the discussion of the knights fighting the big Gargants.
Yeah. But I like this next one, the War of Beasts and the War of Behemoth. Specifically, we put here, Imperial Knights are often called down when worlds face existential threats.
Right.
So like Tyranid incursions, orc wars, that kind of thing.
Right.
They get brought in when the worst of the worst is happening. I mean, even Space Marines are going to request their support from time to time.
Right. Yeah.
And so they are not like strike units, right? Like a space
in
marine
case of
unit
emergency,
would be.
break glass.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Because as the notes say, they're not subtle.
No.
I mean, Liz pointed it out, right? They hit the ground running, literally hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And they crash into the enemy and create devastating, swaths into the enemy lines.
I
right?
think they're faster than most people realize too. Like just visually,
right.
Like I've seen some videos where it seems like they're moving really slowly, but I've seen other videos like I think the opening of like Dawn of War 3 had like a knight versus knight combat, Eldar knight combat versus Imperial knight combat. And that's just amazing, right? When you realize how articulated they are and how much they're just like an extension of a body for the pilots. And
we'll get in.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit, but like it's very interesting. They're not, whereas Titans, every time you see Titans, it's like, all right, stride forward, and it's okay. Here, you're just like, I just move.
Titans have multiple people, working them. So
yeah, and I think it's partly due to just what they're trying to tell in the story, right? Because if you're trying to make this impression that knights are huge machines, then they tend to move a little bit slower,
right?
Just to let you register, like, oh, that's a big giant thing,
right?
But if you're just straight knight on knight battle and you're going at their pace, then they're moving right along.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
The Warhammer TV show that came out recently, Broken Lance.
Yes.
The Armigers in particular, they're like zooming around the place. They're pop, 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 like they're just skipping all over the place.
Yeah. No, you're right though.
No,
you're right.
Sure.
That was, and I actually really liked that video. Like it had a lot of violent, like you saw the violence level of the knights, like what they can bring.
Yeah. No, but I think it's a good. I mean, you're right. When you see them kind of operating against like foes, and you really get a sense of what they bring to bear and how fast they can actually move compared to like a Titan.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Well, and I will say on the table, it catches people by surprise too.
That they're up in their grill so quick.
That you're
Yeah. Because they move. Yeah.
It's basically minimum 10-inch movement in the whole army.
Yeah.
And they go.
Yeah. The Armigers, they are not slow.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get this knight army on the table at some point. So, talk a little bit. So we kind of eased into it just there, but army identity is kind of an interesting point, and this is something that I keep going back to. And actually, we talked about it earlier in the episode, where even when we were talking about when they first got introduced, how you only have like 5 or in the smallest version, you have 4 or 5 of these things on the table,
right?
And it makes it, it's a very like we used to call Adeptus Custodes the elite of the elite, and now it's like, well, you really don't have very many models, so you have to be very cautious in terms of like they're very powerful, but to win games you're going to struggle to hold objectives, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to make decisions.
As we get into how they play, I'm going to be really interested because Liz has way more experience in this than I think either of us do at this point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I played them exclusively at the Grand Narrative.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Last year. I mean, year before last with my Titan, but yeah, I haven't played them in 10th.
Yeah. So I mean,
completely true, but yeah, go ahead.
Talk about a little bit about the detachment rules now, because Liz, I think you're probably best suited to really discuss this. But I think one of the strengths of 10th edition is the detachment approach that they've taken, because not only does the codex come out and then you're like, okay, here's my 4 or 5 detachments, or 6 in some cases, but then they can release additional detachments, and detachments tend to play entirely different.
Yes.
Like one army to the next has like entirely different, that's one of the things I like about the Chaos Space Marines is based on these detachments,
same
like
as
a whole new army.
Just like the orcs, yeah.
Yeah. So Liz, talk us through a little bit of kind of how the 10th edition detachments kind of resonate with you.
Well, there's a variety of detachments, and they're relatively new. So I've only played 2 of the new detachments.
Okay.
but I think at its base, there's a couple of different focuses. So one of the ones that I've played is focusing on the training of armigers. Okay. And so it really focuses the detachment special rule on bondsman abilities going to more than one armiger. And if you're honored, it increases the distance where you can share your bondsman ability.
Just to be clear, the bondsman ability is like an aura buff, right? Sort of. It's an ability you grant to a specific model.
Yeah, so a bondsman ability, and we've got it sort of detailed out later in the notes.
I jump? I'm sorry.
No, but yeah, a bondsman ability is something a larger knight, so a titanic knight, will grant to an armiger. Okay. And the idea is that the armiger is their squire, kind of along those lines, where they're training under that particular knight. And
that's cool. That's cool. Like I never put those two together.
Oh, really?
Like a squire. Not until she said that was I like. Okay. I was just like, hey, there's a small guys that just
small guys.
No, it makes sense.
But and the buffs all depend on which large knight is granting it, rather than who's receiving it. So it's this kind of wisdom, this kind of experience that they have. They're passing on to the younger, smaller knights, the less experienced knights. And the spearhead, I find it really interesting because the chaos detachment is all about the armigers being basically independent. You can have character armigers, and you can have a whole army of armigers, whereas the Imperial Knight version is a lot of the stratagems go off of granting more bondsman abilities from the big knight. So you have to have the big knight in the first place to grant them off.
Because you can't make an armiger a character, so you can't even have a warlord armiger.
Correct, not in the Imperial Knights Codex.
Right.
And one of the big benefits of this particular detachment is you can use a stratagem on a big knight, and then it affects all of the armigers that are affected by his bondsman abilities.
Oh, it kind of filters down.
Nice.
It filters down. So the big knight doesn't actually get the stratagem typically. It just filters down to his bondsman. So he or she is passing the knowledge on.
Interesting.
And using a specific tactic and sort of guiding them.
Yeah, when we talk about the Chaos Knights, like they all basically exude auras that can buff. Like there's one aura.
Yeah, don't burn the content.
It's not, but I mean, in comparison, there's one aura that buffs like, oh, I've got war dogs with me, and so if war dogs are near you, they get a +1, to attack or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, in the Mechanicus army, if you have your robots near a battle line unit, they get extra ability.
This is really interesting though, the way this works, Liz, where you're almost using you're using the ability of the knight to affect its other smaller units around it that are bonded to it. That's really cool and super thematic.
Very much so. Yeah. Very much so. And it's very versatile in the sense of it doesn't necessarily have to be the same armiger. It changes from turn to turn. So this is in each command phase. Each big knight can choose to bestow a bondsman ability on an armiger within a certain range.
Right.
So you can flex it as you move up the table, or if your squire gets blown up, then you can say, "Oh, well, you're next in line. Here you go."
Yeah.
See what happened to that last guy?
That's kind of what I was talking about.
Don't do that.
What? How do you mark that on the table? Like as you're playing it, like how do you go? Oh, this guy's bonded to this guy. Do you put similar marks on each of your?
Honestly, what I've been doing lately is just I've got it on like a dry erase thing, and I stick it back with the big knight at the beginning of every command phase, and then I pass it to an armiger when he's passing his bondsman ability. But there are classier ways to do it. Mine's not visually appealing at the moment, but I haven't.
Yeah, the rest of your army makes up for it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. You have a beautiful knight army, Liz.
Thank you.
So
always a work in progress.
The detachments, Liz, do you find that the detachments follow at all kind of the way that the house traditions go? Kind of like, because House Terran is about dueling and courage, and House Raven is more about range firepower, and Griffith is more like in your face melee kind of stuff.
Like in the Chaos Codex, like the detachments, you're like, oh, this is clearly the Night Lord's detachment,
right?
Or this is clearly, do you see them line up like that?
I really haven't. I mean, up until this edition, they very much were. I mean, you had to pick your house and your house rules and all the house things that went with it were all thematically lined up. Versus this edition, these detachments, I think they're much more generalist to the concept of playing Imperial Knights rather than any specific house.
So you don't find that the detachments align to the vibe of a particular house, kind of like Space Marine detachments do, or Chaos Space Marine?
No, I mean, you would think so, because that seems pretty standard for a lot of the other codexes,
Yeah.
but it really doesn't seem that way to me in this codex.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
The other interesting thing they've done in 10th edition is, even though like it aligns like that, right? Even though you can be like, well, this is clearly the one that's designed to be Imperial Fist, right? I can use it with Ultramarines. I like that they've.
No, but I mean, I like that they.
Yeah, I've liked that they've offered that flexibility.
Right. Yeah.
Into all the codexes, but this is very interesting. That's a great question.
Yeah. I mean, in last edition, when I went to an official GW event, I paid an extra CP for my successor chapter to the Blood Angels to use a Blood Angel relic.
Nice.
You know, and it's like, okay, that's because they're painted that way, and nobody in a competitive tournament would ever do that. But I'm like, hey, my guys are supposed to be following the rules, and it says this in the codex, but we don't have that problem anymore, and it gives you a lot more interesting flexibility.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Very interesting.
So within the knight houses, there are main classes of knights. All right. Mm-hmm. So the first one is Questoris Knights. So Liz, can you talk us through the Questoris Knights?
Questoris Knights are the sort of standard medium Imperial Knight suit. So it's what you associate the typical knight being. They're the most common like Titanic unit.
So they're the intercessor of knights.
I don't know if I'd quite go. I mean, maybe, right? But they're still very important on their own, as opposed to intercessors being relatively faceless inside a unit.
Okay, so but the Questor, so which knights would qualify as being in the Questoris class?
So the paladin, the errant, the warden. So basically, if you look at a typical knight army, any of the big knights that aren't super wide or super tall are Questoris class.
Okay, and so this is the thing that I always get confused, even though when I look at my own knights, the difference between a paladin and a warden and a crusader. They're all Questoris knights, but it's just basically the loadout, right?
They're limited to the loadouts. Yeah.
Okay. And
I got confused a lot as I was building my Chaos Knight army too. I'm like, which one is this? You know?
Yeah.
And which one do I have? Oh, I have this guy. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess that's what that is.
Right.
You know? I still couldn't tell you.
Think of Questoris as a chassis.
Okay.
I mean, all the knight classes, it's a chassis.
It's the Rhino chassis that could become
a predator or whatever.
A variety of different things.
Okay.
You can add different weapons to
that's interesting. Okay.
Cool. All right. And so now the next one would be the Dominus Knights.
Yeah. So those are approximately the same height as a Questoris Knight, but they're wider, and they have instead of just having shoulder pauldrons, they have guns on top. So they start to look more like warlords.
I was going to say wannabe warlords.
Yeah, so wannabe warlords.
So we're talking about the Castellan and the Valiant.
The Castellan and the Valiant.
Okay.
Yeah, so big guns, or kind of close combat-y big guns.
So in the player world, is that a separate kit, or can you build that out of the standard knight box?
No, a Dominus is a a kit.
It's a different kit.
Interesting.
Okay, cool. Now, is that the same box that you build the Castor, the Rex? What's it called?
No. So the Dominus Knights, they're a different chassis. They have.
Is that the Canis Rex chassis or not?
No, Canis Rex is a Questoris chassis.
It's a Questoris.
So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a free blade version of a Knight Preceptor.
Okay. Okay.
And
I don't know why I thought it was a Castellan.
It's a little fuzzy in terms of historically the kits. There was one Questoris kit and 2 Armiger kits originally.
Right.
And then there were 2 Questoris kits that had the Paladin and Errant, and then they had the fancy new weapons in the Warden kit.
Right.
And then they combined the Questoris kits and they combined the Armiger kits, so you could build anything out of either box for those particular chassis.
Got it. Boy, that's
and
confusing.
Then they added the special character preceptor
for the Canis Rex
that could build Canis Rex or
Right.
a generic version of Canis Rex that also had the pilot inside, so it had extra sprues for different weapons and the guy and the cockpit.
right
But that's really
and
confusing on what you buy. Like as you're
it can't
Yeah.
it can be
yeah, it's definitely one of those that like somebody says, oh, I want a Knight Warden, and it doesn't match the picture on the box,
right
and you're like, well, how do I get a Night Warden?
Well,
Right.
that's
You go on the
that's when your
the
friendly
website
neighborhood
works out.
Games Workshop employee
God,
can help you
shut
with
up.
making the correct selection.
This is true though. This is true.
I mean-
Yep.
I just had to give him a hard time.
No, but Dominus Knights are a different chassis. They are bigger. The shoulder layout is different, and then the torso is just a little bit taller because they have two reactors instead of just
okay.
one.
Cool. Now
and
let's talk about
and
Cerastus, the Cerastus Knights.
So Cerastus Knights are they were exclusively Forge World Knights.
Not
And
anymore.
they are
Yeah.
significantly taller and leaner than the Questoris Knights. So they're a couple inches taller, and they just look a little bit more spry.
They look like the NBA players next to the linebackers.
Yep.
That's a
Yep.
good,
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the
This was-
Cerastus Knights, there's the one with the shield and the spear,
That's the Lancer.
Lancer.
right?
Yep.
And then there's another one,
the Castigator
Castigator. Yeah.
with the
Castigator's got a mega bolter.
and a sword.
And then there's the Acheron. And then on the Mechanicus side, there's the Asterion
Yes.
and Atropos.
Yeah, I think you're
Asterion
right.
and Atropos.
Yeah. So we have so that's the Cerastus, and then there's the Acastus.
Yep. The Acastus are the I put in the notes the beefcakes
Yeah.
of the knights. So they're basically just walking fortresses with giant guns on them in a way that you're bridging the gap between knights and titans.
Yeah. So this is the Porphyrion. Porphyrion. Right. And there's another one too, right?
Yes, there is.
And these are for Forge World expert kit only. They have not come out in plastic.
Oh, sorry. The Asterius is an Acastus knight. The other
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. The Asterius is an Acastus knight. It's a larger.
It's a
Since I
beefcake,
don't play a Mechanicus house, I don't tend
they
to
get lost
into
in the shuffle.
Mechanicus
Yeah.
ones. Yeah, a little bit.
But the one that most people know about is the Porphyrion.
Porphyrion's much more common than the
Yeah.
Asterius.
Yeah.
But it's got big giant Magna las cannons.
Yeah. That thing it's awful. I mean, it's awesome, but it's
It was
awful
broken in
face.
Adeptus Titanicus
Yeah,
too.
it's
Yes.
It's close in 40K. So but you can mix all these up, right? You can have lots of different styles and types of
as long as you have the
Yep.
points.
yeah.
Yep. Well, and let's not forget to talk about the armigers.
Well, armigers.
The squires to the big knights. They
Yep.
are not technically Titanic, which is
Right.
interesting in gameplay terms because they act a lot differently than the Questoris or
And with-
Estus or
That's
any
a
of the
really
big
good
knights.
point because
They interact differently with terrain.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And so you use all of these things together to build your lists. And now talking about list building, I mean, we're not going to go into the details of the codex, but just in terms of list building generalities, one of the things that was kind of difficult for knight players in earlier editions was the knights were so many points, you'd be lucky to even get 4 in a list of the big knights. Where does that sit now?
Like a lot of other armies in 10th edition, you get a lot more stuff. So the list that I've been running recently has 3 big knights and 6 armigers.
Wow.
That's my chaos
it-
list too. Yeah.
So you get a lot more stuff.
Things generally you'll get about 5 knights if you just go with the thing
big
that's
knights.
just knights. Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the verge of 400 points for a big knight.
400,
And it goes
420.
up or down depending on how big they are or how many weapons they have. And
Right.
but it kind of translates about there. And armigers are about 140-ish.
140. Yeah, both
depending.
versions are now 140.
Okay.
Yeah.
They used to be different amounts. Now they're the same.
All right. Let's take a short break. We're at about an hour. We'll take a short break. We'll come back and let's get into the rest of the the knight stuff.
Sounds good.
Be right back.
Sounds great.
Okay, and we're back, and we're going to continue this discussion with Imperial Knights. You're going to talk a little bit about the organizational structure.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's a good idea that we split it up.
Yeah. This would have been a 5-hour episode.
Yeah,
which is too much.
Easy.
Too much.
So the hierarchy within a house is very interesting. It's very, we talked about it's kind of a feudal setup, and so the top level is going to be your high monarch, your high king, your lord, seneschal, that kind of thing. And they're the HMFIC. I mean, they oversee everything. The organization of the house. It's all very much on family lines.
They're the what?
Yeah, it's a
Inappropriate content.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adon.
But you know what?
Family-friendly show.
Hey, I didn't say it. And then the next level down are going to be your barons, counts, dukes, those kinds of things. And they're going to be running their own lances. So in your mind, Liz, the high monarch or the high king, is there like a particular type of knight that they typically would run?
I'm going to guess the biggest, toughest.
I mean,
I think that anything Titanic would be appropriate for a high monarch. But the actual thing that it is going to depend on personality.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Makes
That's
sense.
exactly what I was going to say too. Yep. So it could be any type of chassis, but it has to match what that monarch's personality is. Yeah. Now in your army, your warlord or your high king or high lord, what kind of chassis do they run?
She's a crusader. Yeah. The high seat runs in a crusader most of the time.
Nice. Okay.
And
which is double guns for those people who are not familiar with the names.
And I'm going to stop just for a second there, Liz, because first off, I love that you agreed to join us on the show. And I love that you're such an active member of not just our community, but the community that you're in.
Yep.
And when you said, "What's your lord do?" and she goes, "She is a,"
Yep.
I was like, I think it just shows how important representation is. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And
sure.
how when we play this game, like one of the things I don't like about playing White Tyrant is I don't get to like put myself in kind of like, oh, so you're a hive tyrant. Cool. You know?
Yeah. No personality, no nothing.
I have personality invested in, for me, and when we get to chaos stuff next time, the Knight Abominant is like, I just love the look of it.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. Like I can
Right.
really vibe with that. So I love that you said that, Liz. I really like it. Sounds silly.
Well, I knew it was coming.
It sounds silly, but
sure.
I absolutely love it.
I ran into somebody from Colorado Springs at LVO.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, so do you know Liz? He's like, I'm not sure. I said, plays knights. Really nice. Oh, yeah, her. Yeah, she's awesome. Anyway, so I don't know his name. He was in line with his partner at the ice cream place, but
his name's Jonah. Hi,
okay.
Jonah.
Hey, Jonah.
Nailed it.
And actually it was fun the other way around, because he was like, hey, so I was talking to this guy at LVO and he says he knows you. And I was like, okay. And he's like, he was dressed all in yellow. And I was like,
that's
I know
Dave.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, Dave was the memorable one in the ice cream line.
He draws a lot of attention.
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
So the next level down is the barons, counts, and dukes, and in my mind, that's where most of the palace intrigue happens at that level.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because they're vying for power. They run their own lances, so they want to be first in the fight, or they want to have the best pilots working for them, kind of thing. And so I always see them as like, when you think of like Game of Thrones, that's where the most of the drama, I think, would run.
This gets worse in the chaos stuff, by the way. It's a different org, which is really interesting.
Yeah. And then you have the scions. So the scions are kind of like the offspring. They're the up and coming nobles. They still drive. They're still piloting knights, but they're kind of more the newbies, right? They just come into those knight suits, and then you have the armigers. And the armigers are the squires. They're the wannabes. They're the ones who
less experienced nobles.
Right.
Vying to, I imagine eventually they want to drive a knight.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I would say the scions are not necessarily newbies. I mean, if you're in a Questoris Knight or bigger, then you've got the experience of being an armiger already. You've got quite a few battles under your belt. It just might be that they're not important enough, or they don't play the politics enough.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
It's kind of similar to having, experienced enlisted officers, right?
Oh, excellent point.
It's a good conversion.
Yeah.
A good comparison.
Yeah. Yes. I completely agree. They're your experienced NCOs.
Okay, so then when you're talking organization, what's the difference between like a lance or a banner or something along those lines? So you've moved on from the armiger class pilots,
right? Right.
So now you're talking like, okay, so how do these form? Like earlier, you were saying, they want to have a lance under them.
Right.
Like, what is that?
Right. So a lance is going to typically be kind of it's kind of like on the Marine side, you have squads and companies and battalions. They're just different groups of organizations, right? So a lance is your basic formation of knights.
Okay.
Right. So you can think of that as like a squad of knights, right?
Yep.
And then if you have multiple lances, then that's called a banner.
Okay, so it's a squad, a platoon, but effectively, but much smaller in numbers of them,
right?
But how they organize,
right?
Okay,
and those are the two main organizations. So you have lances and banners.
Okay,
and then the other thing that comes into play, and we talked about this earlier, is the sacristans. So they're the ones who are like the.
So this is interesting. Hold on, before you even get into sacristan. So this is interesting in the sense of when you like built your army, Liz, the heraldry and things that they do. I mean, you can go down to, okay, my army all here on the table is a lance,
right?
So they're all the same. Or you could even go, well, they're all working together from the same banner, so that's why they have different heraldry on them.
Well, all knights have their individual heraldry,
right? But banners have their
heraldry
own heraldry within the knight house,
right?
Right.
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
That offers a lot of like cool combinations of things.
Yeah.
I noticed in the pictures of Liz's army, which Liz, you should send us more pictures so we can share those with this episode. But in the picture of your army, like effectively your army is all painted the same scheme, and do they have the same heraldry and stuff on them?
It varies, and I get into some more specifics when we talk about that later.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun again. It's very interesting.
But typically, they follow the Questor Imperialis scheme, where you've got the house on the left pauldron, and then you've got the individual pilots' heraldry on the right pauldron.
I feel like I didn't pay enough attention to this when I started building my knights initially.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't necessarily happen that way in every house.
I know,
right?
but you know how it is. Anyway, okay, so then you were talking about the sacristans.
We talked about them before. They're basically the repair dudes, the ones who are trained by the.
But they can also be represented on the table as like foot soldiers and men at arms, and things like that go alongside the knights as allies or supporting sort of house personnel.
Do you have access in the Imperial Knight Codex to like foot soldiers, or you're saying you would ally in, say potentially,
you'd ally in,
a Imperial Guard army or a Mechanicus.
Yeah, it's not like you can go the other way around. In an Imperial army, you can bring in one knight,
you can bring in a knight or two armigers,
right?
It's usually
you can't do it the other way, unfortunately.
Well, you can to a certain degree. So knights can ally Imperial agents, which allows you to bring in like Sisters of Battle, certain Sisters of Battle.
That's cool.
And then some other like Voidsmen at Arms and the Arbites cool. And the Inquisitors can ally in just like any other Imperial force. So you can get a little bit sprinkled in there, but it's not directly.
I wish it wasn't quite so limited.
Like with Imperial agents, you can bring in either Sisters or Grey Knights or Death Watch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and obviously, like you said, the Arbites.
Yeah.
But what I kind of wish you could do, I would love to be able to do Skitarii.
Yeah.
With them.
Yeah. I mean, it makes complete sense, right? So,
well, and
you know what? You can do it. We'll play a game and we'll just break all the rules. I don't care.
There was one, like a White Dwarf detachment that came out like a year ago or something like that, that was specifically about Questor Mechanicus Knights allying into Mechanicus forces.
Right.
And vice versa. So I think with that one, you might have some options.
Oh, we should look. That'd be interesting.
Haven't played it.
It'd be interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Because that's you've already kind of alluded to this. There's the Questor Imperialis and the Questor Mechanicus, the two different types of houses.
Right.
So the Questor Imperialis, as we said before, they're the ones that are they're sworn to the Imperium, but they're like on their own. They're not directly tied to a Forge world.
Right.
Liz, can you talk a little about the heraldry of the differences in the heraldry between Imperialis and Mechanicus?
Yeah, I mean the major difference is going to be that the Questor Imperialis have the Imperial Eagle, the Aquila, on the back half of their pauldrons, typically. So a lot of the Imperialis houses are split down the middle with their own coat of arms and their allegiance to the Imperialis.
Right.
And then the Mechanicus heraldry, like it mixes up the locations of different things, but I think the biggest thing that you'll notice visually on the table is that the Mechanicus heraldry tends to be more dominant,
right,
in the sense of almost all the Mechanicus houses are red, and they've got accents of black and white.
Right.
They've got cogs all over them.
They've got cogs all over them, right? Versus the Imperialis houses are all about they're like Bretonians, right? If you're familiar,
they can have personal heraldry and everything. Yep.
They've got their personal heraldry. They've got whatever colors their house goes with, and it's a lot more varied and independent, I guess.
And some folks actually will create specific icons or specific additions to the heraldry based on different campaigns they've been in, or things like that. Yeah, cool. All right, so we're gonna jump.
Did you talk about free blades at all? Because they're kind of
free blades.
Talk about free blades.
Oh yeah, so free blades.
I think they're actually one of the cooler.
Yeah, so they kind of go off on their own and do their own thing.
They're like a run,
like a knight errant.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Ronin. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So, and I think in my head, that's what I picture when someone adds a knight to their Imperial army.
How complicated though? Well, yeah, I could see that. Yeah. How complicated though would that be, right? You're this knight and maybe like your whole house is destroyed or you break from it for some reason.
Right.
And now you're like, well, I'm going to go cruise the galaxy fighting, imagine all the retainers and people you have to bring with you to do that, right? You're effectively, like when I think of Ronin, I think of like a wandering single guy, but you got to have support for this. Where are you going to get your ammunition?
Yeah.
All those things are going to add up.
Well, and a lot of them do ally into like a specific crusade or a specific campaign or something like that. So they can
draw support
by
from there. Yeah.
The Imperial forces that are already there. And then there's others that have like the mysterious quality to them, where like they just show up at a battle and they fight alongside and nobody ever talks about how they got there.
It's exactly like all my D&D characters. Who are you? I'm a lone wolf. I don't talk to them. Nobody knows my true name. Oh, really?
Yeah. And,
another one, huh? Go sit over there with the rest of them.
So in the Codex, they have, the different houses. They have different houses listed and things like that. And we'll talk about which ones that we individually have picked for different reasons. But for the free blades, there used to be a bunch of different like named free blades.
Yeah.
But there isn't now.
Codexes, right?
Right? There's only the one.
Right. Yeah. Right now, the only free blade you can actually play with rules is Canis Rex.
Right.
And he's extremely popular in the competitive crowd because he's a preceptor, but better. So, he's got a lot of extra special rules that are attractive to have him come along and fight.
Now, can you bring Canis Rex into as your ally into a regular Imperial army?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yep.
I see him a lot.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. He's very popular.
Yeah.
I mean, you could run any knight and call it a free blade.
Yes.
Yes.
But this one has specific rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one has specific heraldry and paint scheme, and he has a backstory, and like it's pretty cool, you know, like his house was captured and he was tortured for however long, and he finally escaped with the assistance of his knight suit come to help him even without the pilot.
That's kind of cool. That's pretty cool.
They call him the chain breaker, right? And because like he got out of chains,
right.
And that's one of his specialties is he tries to help other people in captivity and things like that. But they used to have a lot of different named free blades. Like there was the Green Knight from Arthurian legend, and there were a few others. Like there was one that was all skulls and death and things like that I remember. And
it almost felt like it was like a Legion of the Damned knight.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And it's they're relegated down to just a couple of coats of arms in the current codex, unfortunately. But
you
the
could
concept is there.
You could say, hey, this is Ranus Kex, my free blade, and use the Canis Rex rules.
Yep.
I hate you so much right
I know. I'm just using it as an example.
You could. But you absolutely could. Well, what's interesting too
this is Carl Tuttle, but I'm using the Canis Rex.
I hate you even more. What's really, I was just looking at the rules for him. What's interesting is he's one of the few models that there's another model for him, which is his actual pilot,
right?
Sir Hector.
Yep.
Sir Hector. Yep.
And even if the model's destroyed, he has lone operative. So once the model's destroyed, he disembarks from the model, and the model's not considered destroyed until he's killed.
Right.
Yep.
Which is fascinating.
Yeah, chase him around the board.
That is really cool.
You're getting into one of those reasons the competitive players like him so much.
I can see why.
Yeah.
He's still a character and he can still do stuff.
Right.
And you have to hunt him down to actually kill him.
I mean, he's really not particularly good as a character. He's just more just a denial unit, right? He's denying you from that's kind of cool.
And he can do actions, so like he runs
good
around
point.
and
Yep, little
holds
action
an objective.
Objectives in theory.
Yep,
that's a really good point. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right, so we're going to jump on to the next phase, which is we're kind of going to go through and do our round robin that we do in these Shore of Force episodes, where we pick different models and rules and things of that nature as we go along. So the first one's going to be picking your favorite house, or your favorite flavor of knight, basically. And we're only going to do one apiece on these. Yep. So Carl, why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, it's this Chaos Knight house. But since we're talking Imperials, I actually chose House Raven. And we talked about them a little bit earlier. And the reason I chose, first off, I'm not the biggest fan of the paint scheme. And usually when I pick something, it's
based on the paint scheme.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the guy that's like, I choose the book by its cover.
Right.
But in this case, I looked beyond that. And I was reading about House Raven in a supplemental book called The Imperial Knight Companion. And they go into a lot of detail about
That's
House
a beautiful
Raven
book,
there.
by the way.
It's beautiful. There was somebody in our Discord recently said they bought it for like $35 or $25 or something like that. And I'm like, you got to steal it, because this book goes for hundreds of dollars in some cases. And I want to thank Dave Taylor, who gave me a copy of it. I thought he was loaning it to me. I tried to bring it back to him at Adepticon. He said, "Oh no, I gave that to you." So very generous. But as we said earlier, this is one of those houses where their technology was like slipping away before the reunification, and they were about to just completely collapse. And so Lord Gregor was their kind of first ambassador, and he reached out to the Imperium. And specifically reached out to the Forge World of Metallica,
right? That
we were talking about before. Which every time I say that, I want to do a guitar riff. But and then they got support and training for their machines and all this. Again, I'm not the hugest fan of the
color
scheme. But what really attracted me was, and I'm going to just kind of briefly summarize, was this story
in this book that no one else can get their hands on.
Yeah, and it's a short story. I mean, it takes up maybe 3/4 of the page, and it talks about this point where, and it's written like a Black Library novel piece, but it's all about this knight Yornis who is leading like about 20 other knights, and they're in this city trying to locate a fallen warlord titan. And the story picks up right as they found it, and he kind of radios in and says, "Okay, or voxes in, if you will, and says, I found it." And all around them are Tyranids. And so as the story starts off, they're kind of flushing out like these little swarms of what are the rippers, like ripper swarms. And the knights kind of surround this fallen titan. And then this ship comes in and drops off a bunch of Skitarii and a pilot and all this. And they're going to try to restart the warlord. And so the Skitarii kind of with flamers like chase away all the minor Tyranids that are around. They go into the vehicle and the knights are sitting there. And this is a great scene because it kind of builds where the knights are like checking their sensors and they see like, oh, they've drawn some interest from the Tyranids. And now they're like, now the Tyranids are amassing. Like this has become more interesting to the Tyranids. And then there's this massive battle that comes as like these knights are surrounding this thing, fighting off all these Tyranids. You know, the knight to his left is like destroyed by some Tyranids, and then he gets attacked by a Malloc right at that time, and he's fighting the Malloc, and he's run out of ammunition, and basically he takes the chain sword of the knight and cuts the Malloc's head off. Like he doesn't just like swipe it off, like he's like grinding through it, and finally he cuts it off. The thing flops to the ground. Then a winged hive tyrant shows up, and he's like I said, out of ammunition, and his chain blade is jammed, and he's like just about to bite it when all of a sudden like this blast of energy comes over his shoulder, takes out the flying winged hive tyrant, and it's the warlord that is now like standing up. And I'm just like,
it's on, baby.
This is like such a thematically freaking cool story that I was like, oh, okay, these guys are kind of cool. Yeah. And I love the whole theme behind it. So that was why I chose House Raven.
Nice.
Love it.
Nice. So Liz and I both chose houses that are directly related to the knights that we play. The themes are similar. Actually, I just noticed. But I'm gonna. So
let's let Liz go first. Then
we're gonna let Liz go first because it's just something she does at the end here that I really love, and I have a similar thrust here. So go ahead, Liz.
Oh boy. Well, I have picked my own House Adelarix.
Nice.
And they are an official part of the lore in the Sabrin campaign.
Yep.
Nice.
And the Sabrin campaign was the first grand narrative.
The first grand narrative.
Yes. Go ahead.
But when I first started setting them up, they were kind of a combination of House Hawkshroud and House Griffith.
Uh-huh.
So the basic concept of these guys is very classic, sort of Arthurian knights. They are dragon slayers. They are burgundy red overall, which is, again, you can see that sort of general theme of my army. And then the house emblem on their left pauldron will bear a sable dragon rampant in its heart point on an argent field.
Damn.
With cool. Varying additional sable charges as earned by the steed. So nice. One of the things that I like to call instead of suits, they're my steeds.
Yep.
So it's classic sort of knights going to battle. And to cut through the heraldic speak there, that's just basically a black dragon on a white field. And then there's additional symbols. So like usually they're weapons, like lances, swords, arrows, something like that. And those are marks that the steed itself has earned while being piloted by different knights. And that shows up on the left pauldron. And then the personal heraldry of any knight will show up on the right pauldron. And obviously, since they're Questor Imperialis, we'll have Aquila wings on the back half of each pauldron.
Dang. It's almost, I mean, I wish you would have put some thought into this, though.
Well, I know, right?
Where I'm like, oh, I wish I should have read more about this before I started applying transfers.
Yeah, well, I'll jump back to that book that you're flipping through there, Carl. Like, that was really early on in the release of the Imperial Knights. They brought out that book alongside them where they're like, hey, look, like, you're going to spend some time on these guys. And if you're only bringing one, or if you're only bringing 4, then you want to dress them up. You want to deck them out.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So
I was going to say, it's interesting that you talk about fighting dragons, because as I was reading House Griffith, like, that's one of their things.
Yep.
That's what I was going back to remind me as I was looking at it. Yeah, they have that whole motif too, which I loved.
So House Griffith was the paint scheme that was designed by
Duncan Rhodes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So he painted a night house, and it became official.
Oh,
and it freaked him out. He talked about that at the time. He's like, "Oh my gosh, it's officially in the book."
Super cool.
And now Liz's Knights are also part of the official lore.
Very cool.
Yep. Well, and my family heritage is Griffiths also. So, like, bringing that through was pretty cool.
Yeah.
For me. And then the Hawkshroud aspect, they're usually what I played in every previous edition.
Right.
Because Adalarics doesn't have any special rules, even still, unfortunately.
So what does Adalarics mean?
So Adalarics is the scientific name for hedgehog. So
Nice.
they're round and spiky, a lot like the classic Questoris Knight, and they're specifically designed around defending. So one of the things that Adalarics is known for is defending people, especially against large threats, like we talked about before. So, like, if you have a dragon in the area, then call in House Adalarics, and they will come and help you out.
That's so cool.
So what's some of the notable campaigns and other battles that House Adalarics has been a part of?
You're
laughing, but I think this is some of the best part of the whole thing. So go ahead.
So, I already mentioned the Sabrin campaign, which was part of the grand narrative, the first grand narrative, and the story of that campaign was basically there was a system on the edge of the Pariah Nexus, so the great sleep and warp nothingness that was being caused by the Necrons, it still is being caused by the Necrons, was encroaching on the system, and the Imperials knew that something bad was coming, and then the Chaos rode in to try and take over while they were at it and steal all the resources from the world before everything got sucked into the Nexus, essentially.
As we do.
As you do. And some Xenos showed up to also take advantage of the situation, and so everything was beset on all fronts by invaders. And
House Adalarics distinguished themselves against a particular army.
Yep. So on one of the planets, my particular battle group, the Sabrin's Wrath, was sent in to defend against the Xenos. And the quote that I particularly remember from our warlord in the grand narrative, Lord Commander Cassagane, was, "I sent them in to die, and they won."
That's awesome.
So,
yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
I thought was really cool.
That is super cool.
But one of the things that got House Adalarics noticed was when I was playing up against Grinial Speedwa. So another IC's big Discord member, Dave to some, but I've been calling him Grinial for a long time.
We talked about him a lot earlier in the show before you got here, yeah.
Yeah, but the general came by and sort of watched our game for a while with both of us in full costume
too.
and just beating up on each other. And then he pulled me aside afterward and whispered a few things in my ear, and then the next day there was a medal ceremony.
Yeah. That is super cool.
Super cool.
It was super cool. And it's interesting because I'm so bummed I'm going to miss this year's. I had signed up for it and I had to drop out. But every year the grand narrative has gotten more and more awesome.
Yeah.
And that first year, I thought to myself, oh, this is so cool. How are they going to top this? And they did. But that first medal, and I don't know if you remember, Liz, the room was kind of tight and kind of, they had people like pick out prizes out of this chest, and it felt very much local RTT to me. And now it's an amazing.
for some aspects,
Yeah.
there was a little bit of like, this is the first time we've run this,
Right.
kind of bleeding through, but
it was awesome.
There was still a lot of other, amazing stuff that had never been done before and I'd never experienced before. So it was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
The special lighting and odors in the rooms and the theming of the tables, and it was a pretty amazing. It has
the odors were special.
Oh no, it was neat. It was really cool.
Teasing.
And now they actually sell candles.
So what did you? Great.
They had like incense in the shrine world.
That's great.
It was super cool.
All right, so what did you pick, Adon?
So I picked House Draco. This house was originally created by Adam Faschholz, known as Loopy on the Discord. I ended up getting it from him. And
you bought his army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did it specifically because I wanted to take them alongside my Warhound Titan to the Grand Narrative number 2. So Grand Narrative number 1, when Liz was earning all her accolades and becoming part of the lore, I was painting a Warhound Titan. And then I wanted to bring that to the following Grand Narrative, and I brought it alongside House Draco. I wrote probably a dozen different small vignettes having to do with the different games and the different settings. And like every Grand Narrative, this Grand Narrative was the Palat Crusade. And so, although I don't think mine is specifically called out, they did kind of come by and ask me to put my army on the display board. At that time, you had to be asked to be in the army display. And so they came by and said, "Oh yeah, you painted this last year. Put your your stuff out there." But I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Adam did such a great job with painting those knights. So they are a twilight black color, which is reminiscent of the dingy nature of their homeworld of Thrain, which is it's part of a 2-star constellation, and they come from the kind of the brown dwarf star side, and so it's kind of dark and dingy, and they also represents the black scaled hides of these creatures that they have to fight on their planet, which some people call dragons.
Similar thing.
Yeah, so I'm saying, it was funny, and I didn't know that Liz had that such detailed theme, and when I saw the notes, I'm like, oh, look at that.
That's cool. People like
all the knights are trimmed in a dull silver color, and they're meticulously brushed with oils after each battle. And
you would say they get an oil wash.
They get an oil wash, yeah. And what's really cool is that each knight has a heraldry that represents a dragon of ancient culture. And I got to give Adam a lot of credit for this, because if you look at the heraldry he actually drew them in freehand. Like one of them is Maleficent, and one of them is Tiamat, and one of them is Bakunawa, which is a Filipino dragon. And so all of the dragons, all the knights have these different dragon icon that have been hand done by Loopy onto the shoulder pads. Very cool.
They look fantastic. I remember when he was painting those, it was every single one was like, oh man, that's a cool freehand piece.
Yep. And when I got the armigers, I actually a friend of mine, coworker, his name is Oscar. He has like 24 war dogs, and he's also a very, very good painter, and very often wins the staff awards at some of the competitions. And so I was like, hey, I need to have this other armiger painted for my list, and he was very, very good at almost matching what Loopy did. It was pretty cool.
Nice. You could paint on your Warhound. You could paint Thimberchod from the D&D movie.
Yeah, you know what? That's fat red, big dragon. Fat dragon can't fit through the door. Yeah. Yep. So, I was able to use that at the Grand Narrative. So that is part of the cool. Lore.
I love it.
Of 40K.
I gotta get out to one of these Grand Narratives.
Yeah, and in fact, that I don't know. So there was it's a long story. I won't go too far into it. I'll just, for Liz, since she's been at the Grand Narrative, the Vostroyan colonel that killed the Inquisitor gave me some special instructions that I had to follow during one of the events. So,
right on.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
All right, so let's move into notable battles.
Yes.
Right? The notable battles that knights have taken place in. I'm going to reference the previous one I just told you.
Okay.
I kind of jumped the gun there, but I just love that story. I thought it was super cool, super thematic.
Cool.
Don?
Yeah. So I picked the battle. It's not really. It's not the 41st millennium, but it's significant night on night action, and that's the Battle of Beta German, which was detailed in Titan Death. So Beta German, for the people who don't know, is like the last system gateway towards Terra. And it was the last thing that Horus had to get through in order to get to Terra. So there was this huge, huge battle across that war zone with dozens of worlds, and there was tons and tons of night houses and Titan legios that were involved. So if you ever pick up the book Titan Death by Guy Haley, he talks a lot about that's what it's about, the Battle of the Beta German campaign.
Yeah, it's massive.
It's massive.
Like tons of Titans are destroyed here.
Yep. And knights.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a loss on both sides, a huge loss on both sides.
Yeah. So that's what I picked. And there's a whole novel written about it, so you could definitely go check that out. Liz, what did you get?
So I picked a story of kind of like we mentioned in Canis Rex earlier that exemplifies the idea that the knight suits have a machine spirit, and even similar to Titans, more than just a machine spirit, but something that can act on its own even without a pilot necessarily. Right. And this is a story of knights in House Krast who are trying to defend the mining world of Gorvax against Eldari. And this particular knight, his pilot gets sniped out towards the beginning of the battle, and the knight suit, the armor itself, gets just so pissed off at this dishonor and really disrespect that he starts charging through everything he can find that's made of wraithbone, and anything that has pointy ears, he starts chopping it up. And like, I love that aspect, and it throws me back into, I don't know if you guys have watched the Warhammer TV show Kill Lupercal.
Yeah, it was great.
Yep,
it was great.
It's fabulous. But that scene where she first gets in the seat, right, and like you just hear this growl, and she's in this like misty ethereum, and she's like, you know me, come on, like, don't be cool, like just be cool. And it's like, okay, like we'll fight together, and that just represents the like what's living in these machines that you have to contend with as a pilot.
That's one of the things I really love about all these different novels, like even Hell's Reach and some of these any novel that has a Titan or knights in it, they talk about this spirit of the suit or the armor.
How you have to wrestle,
and you have to wrestle with control, or you have to be simpatico with it.
And usually these things, and this is why the noble houses are so interesting, because usually these things have outlasted many generations, and they have absorbed from those generations those feelings and emotions and all that. So this is in some degree why somebody from the same house probably has more
the
likelihood
same bloodline
of meshing with it.
So it sings, and it's very, very much since we're talking about, both Liz and I talked about things with dragons, right? The whole thing with in Game of Thrones, you have to match the dragon to be able to ride it. Very, very similar to that kind of idea.
Liz, you didn't finish talking about what happens when the knight starts acting on its own, and you have like a little bit of a description here of how much damage it does. Can you go through that?
The knight carves its way through countless Wraithbone constructs before two Wraith Knights finally bring it down in an epic duel of giant war machines.
It's so cool.
And then the quote I pulled off Alexicanum was, though the craft world Eldari are eventually defeated, victory on Gorvax does not belong to the living.
Yeah. Because everything fighting is
dead.
Everything fighting is dead.
That is super cool.
That's crazy. Yeah,
it's super cool.
So let's move on to the models.
Good choice.
And it's a great story. And again, every novel and every story that talks about these machines talks about their spirit and having to be at one with that spirit. So we're going to talk about the models, and each of us is going to pick a model that kind of speaks to us, that we really like for whatever reason, and we'll go with that. Carl, you go first.
Yeah, so originally we had 2 each, but there's not a lot of models to pick from. So you had stolen one that I really like, which is, of course, the resin Knight Morax.
Yep.
And it's just the thing about this.
It's an armature.
Yeah, it's an armature.
Right.
But it's so unique looking compared to the other armatures.
Yeah.
And I just love the profile of it. And I think it's probably why I like it, is because it's unique looking compared to the others. But the interesting thing is the description of the Knight Morax is that it's a rare, radioactive, and unstable Scout Knight variant of the armature chassis. So I just think it's cool. I think it has a couple loadouts you can take with it. But more than anything, I just really love the profile of this model.
Yeah.
And it's sold out, so I can't get one.
Yeah, it's great. I've got 2 of them. But go ahead, Liz.
I was going to say it's also unique among Imperial armatures in that it has options.
Right.
So
True.
Unlike the Chaos Knight War Dogs, the Imperial Knight armatures don't have options. You've got a Helverin with 2 autocannons, and you've got a Warglaive that has a chainsword and a thermal lance.
Right.
Whereas the Moirax actually gives you some flexibility in how you want to build it and what you want to send it
Yeah,
after.
it has 3 or 4 different type of weapons you can put on there.
Yeah, it's very cool.
One of the reasons I love it is it can have a claw.
The claw.
Yeah, the claws are cool.
Yeah.
The claws are cool.
Yeah. I picked the Serasis Knight Lancer.
Good choice.
That's the tall, thin knight that has the shield and the spear. I just love that model. I've loved it since I first saw it. The idea of the energy shield is super cool. In earlier editions, you had to pick which side of the knight that the shield was facing.
Yeah.
What quadrant it was facing or whatever.
Each turn.
Right, each turn. And which people hated it. I actually liked that.
I sometimes miss like facing stuff, but then I play the game and I'm like, I don't need that.
I got a quote actually.
Okay.
From the current Knights Codex, which also speaks to one of the reasons I love to play this army.
Yeah.
So the Ion Shield is described in this note that's for the edification of highborn issue of my noble patron, Baroness Prime Vocent, etc., etc., etc. Right. So let's see. Through the neural manipulation via the mysteries of the Throne Mechanicum, the shield's plane can be adjusted in pitch, density, and albedo at the speed of thought. By mastering this system, the enthroned noble can deflect the firepower of the honorless foe, dissipate energetic blasts, and bleed the force from solid projectiles. The ion shield is not an all-encompassing bubble of force. Nay, for it is superior. In the machine god's wisdom, the enthroned noble is permitted to display their full skill at arms by swiftly altering the ion shield vector and angle from one moment to the next.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah.
That's pretty
But
slick.
that actually calls back to when you used to have to pick the quadrant.
Well, you know what's interesting too is we didn't even discuss like the Throne Mechanicum and the Helm Mechanicum, which are the thrones are basically how the pilots of knights merge with the knight. The helms are for the guys
Armatures.
in the armatures.
Yeah.
Man, did we skip over that?
Yeah, we did.
I just realized that,
huge.
and that's kind of a very important piece, especially next episode when we talk about all the chaos stuff, because there's some really horrific stuff that goes on with that.
But I mean, they actually attach directly into the throne.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so they become mind and body and spirit attached to their to their knight.
It's so sensual.
Well, and it
I don't know about that, but okay.
And it very explicitly calls out that like you're not driving a knight.
Right.
You know, it's very physical in the sense of you're just walking.
You are the knight.
You are the knight. You're plugging into it through the Throne Mechanicum. And that limitation that Adon was talking about is why I was a squire at the Grand Narrative. The character that I played, Lady Artemis, was an armature pilot, and she is the voice of the high seat.
That's super cool.
Not the high seat herself, because the high seat doesn't let you just come out and talk to people so easily.
Liz, that's
you
sick.
can.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the helm, it has varied in time in its description through the codices, because originally when they talked about it, and I think what you're alluding to, Carl, in the Chaos Knights, is that you like the bigger knights just dominate the armigers. They're basically pawns,
Right.
and the people inside them don't have a lot of control. They're just being manipulated. They've softened on that in the description, where they say like, well, some people use them that way, but you don't have to.
Right. Yeah, the second grand narrative, when I took all the knights in the Titan, I was dressed as a princeps.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. And by the way, it is sensual if you're House Divine. Just saying.
If you're in House Divine, yes.
Yeah, of course. Okay,
Sure
Don, what did you pick?
I did. That's why.
Sorry. What?
That was
Liz.
We didn't go to Liz. Liz did so much talking, I forgot. Liz, what did you pick?
See, it was like I was talking. I picked the Night Castellan.
Yeah, you did.
Because it's like the epitome of big gunship, big walking beast. It's basically a Titan at a little bit more like 40K scale, something you can actually fit in an army.
Something you can actually put on the table. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just got long range volcano cannon and plasmas and missiles and indirect fire batteries. Like it's there to do work.
And do you have one in your army?
I do absolutely.
Volcano cannon.
And what is the name of that?
That knight is Lord the Honorable Balian Fulco. He's a Lord Duray.
I knew you had something.
I love it.
Yep.
This is so good.
Yeah.
This stuff's so good.
Yeah. No, I had names and stuff for all of mine as well.
Yeah, but she's gone like a whole nother
I know.
level. Like, this is really cool. It's super cool.
Yeah.
All right, you want to move on to units of the Codex?
Yeah. So we're going to pick one favored unit. Okay. It can be because you just like the model, because you like the way it plays or whatever. And these are models you would always, is kind of like, I'm going to play this army. This is the first model I'm picking.
Oh,
I know it has to be in there.
That's an interesting point. Yeah. Usually when I go to build an army, like I pick like the biggest thing and then I build the rest around it.
Oh.
Right. But that's not what I did here.
Yeah. See, for me, it's like for sisters, it's like, I'm going to play as sisters. Okay. I know I'm having a unit of retributors.
Right.
Okay. What's the rest of the army going to look like?
See, yeah. I mean, that's fair. I mean, whenever I build a Space Marine or Chaos Space Marine, I'm like, okay, so I got a Land Raider.
Yeah.
What goes in the Land Raider? Like, I'm going to have this. So that's your point. I think that's a great way of putting this.
Yeah.
I chose, again,
the Moirax.
Armiger Moirax, mostly because I like the look of it. It would, if I were to put it on the table, you know me, I'm a special snowflake when it comes to this kind of stuff. And if too many people are doing something, I don't want to do it. But like, I haven't seen a lot of these.
But one of the things I like about why you picked it in the notes is this what Liz talked about earlier with the Moirax being different from other armigers. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's kind of unique, and it has a bunch of different things that you can take with it.
There you go. Right.
And in particular, it can be kind of anti-vehicle or anti-personnel.
Right.
Though it's not great at anti-vehicle or great at, actually it's probably better at anti-personnel, but even there it's not particularly great, because while the Graviton Pulsar, which is anti-vehicle, and anti-vehicle 2+, which sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's only -1 AP, but still wounding on 2+ is pretty great. Now against something like a Rhino, that's much more durable. Against a Land Raider, and this is probably
right,
not
but it's
the
an
thing.
armiger, not a knight.
No, I get it.
Right. So,
I get it. So again, you're taking a number of these, but again, if you go the anti-personnel route, right, you're getting the red cleanser,
the rad cleanser,
or rad cleanser, sorry,
because they're radioactive suits.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. The rad cleanser, which is a torrent weapon, so it's ignoring cover, and it's anti-infantry 2+,
right,
which is pretty slick. I mean, it's a D6, attacks, but again, granted, it's AP 0. But if you're like out cleaning out stuff that it's not going to really do much for Terminators, but
it clears out the scrubs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to. So look, I mean, like I said in my notes, like I admit this isn't the greatest unit to put on the table, and if I were a competition player and people are like, I'm not taking that. But I would,
right?
I would. So that's why I like it. So that's why that's my pick.
Cool. I'll go next. I picked the Armiger Warglaive. I just like armigers in general. I love the way they
do too.
Movement 12. They go screaming around the board. The Warglaive in particular. One of the reason I like putting it in my Imperial Agents army is that immediately people will focus on the armigers because that warglaive, that thermal spear, has a thermal spear with a multi-gun mounted on top of it. And it's the chainsword that it has is no joke in close combat.
Yeah. Yeah. That's legit.
So people are like, oh, I need to go kill that thing. Right. And so while they're doing that, all my rhinos and cops and things like that running around can go like collect objectives and do actions. So I really like the warglaives. I think the armigers in general give you so much flexibility, but the warglaive in particular, I think is cool because I feel like it punches above its weight class.
Nice.
In terms of threat.
Nice. Liz, what'd you pick?
So I picked the Knight Gallant, which is the dedicated close combat Questoris class knight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Kind of the meat of the army.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the classic heavy cavalry kind of charge. Like if you can't get it before it gets to you or run away, it will run you over.
Yep.
And like it calls to mind the scene in the Lord of the Rings where Gandalf is like, no matter what comes through the door, you stand your ground. And then like these huge guys break through the gate and even
troll.
he's like, oh no, that's not good. Right? Like if a gallant gets to you, you're getting smashed, man.
That's awesome.
That's like, that scene is awesome too, because he says, stand your ground. And the troll comes through and he goes, run!
Yeah, exactly. Like, nope, don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh my goodness.
I think that you and Liz are going to have more to say here about the army and competition. So why don't I kind of steer the conversation a little bit? But the army's identity is really about resilience and nobility, which is, as Liz was saying, you have squires, you have these guys that their function is to they can pass on basically abilities to their squires, if you will.
Right.
Can you guys talk a little bit about why that's the case? Like why this is the theme and how does that play out on the tabletop?
Well, I think Liz alluded to it before, where you're selecting certain squires and bonding them to your abilities, right? So you get that bondsman ability.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah. And I think that's how it plays out on the table. I haven't played in 10th edition. I've been using mostly armigers in other armies. I haven't played the knights as an army in 10th edition,
Gotcha.
mainly because the book is so new.
Yeah. That's true.
And a lot of my knights are in boxes.
Okay.
In my new house.
So Liz, help us out here.
Yeah.
That's why we brought you here.
Yeah.
Tell us how this thing plays out.
Okay, well, I think the bondsman ability is actually secondary to the overall army rule is called the Code Chivalric,
Okay.
which is the code of chivalry, essentially.
Yeah.
This leads back to knights of old and the whole concept of honor. And in basically every edition that I've played them in, you swear to a quest. And if you complete that quest, then you get certain bonuses to your army. One of the things that's confusing, I think, about the way this army rule works is they give you a deed, a quest to swear to, and they give you a quality, and it implies that you only get the quality after you complete the quest. But at least in 10th edition, basically the quality is how you're going to complete.
How you complete it. Yep.
So that's a quality of your house or of your knights that you already have. And narratively, it will be something like, we swear to reclaim the realm. That's the quest that you're committing to. And you complete that if at the end of your opponent's turn, you hold more objectives than they do.
Right. That's how it's represented. Okay, got it.
Right. They also have stuff like Lalo the Tyrant for killing characters, and they have Reap a Great Tally for killing enemy units, that kind of stuff. And then the qualities that the houses have to start with to complete these quests finish the sentence. So like, we swear to reclaim the realm and we are eager for the challenge. And that one is add 2 inches to this model's move characteristic and add 1 to advance and charge rolls.
So now it's moving 12.
Well, yeah, for a Questoris Knight, yeah.
Oh, buddy.
But the
armigers are 14.
14.
Plus 2 on the charge. Is that what it said too?
Add 1 to advance and charge
1
rolls.
to advance still. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
In there.
Yep.
Wow.
And then generally the reward is that you gain CP, and your house becomes honored in this particular battle. And the honor system is a little less developed than it was in previous editions.
Right. Yeah. It was pretty. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in 9th edition, it was more like every time you kill a vehicle, you get an honor point, and if you get up to a certain number of honor points, you become extra honored. You become virtuous.
Virtuous. Yeah.
So like you gained an ability, and then when you got to virtuous, you gained an additional ability.
Why do you think they removed that?
I'm not entirely sure. Like there's still stuff that triggers off of honored in this one. So like the spearheaded arms detachment I was talking about before, your bondsman ability can extend from 12 inches to 15 inches if you're honored. But I think it was a complexity issue. Like there was a lot of people that were like, what are your rules and how do I stop you from doing this? And what are you trying to do here?
Yeah. I think it
makes sense.
Yeah, I think that it was an idea that just ended up being too complicated in gameplay.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's logical.
So,
go ahead.
No, to say, so you talk about the bondsman abilities, and there's obviously the durability and toughness of the knights.
Yeah, if you're not prepared to take knights, like if you bring an army that's all anti-infantry, then the knights are gonna run roughshod over you. And I've been the knights player playing that game where it's like, like we briefly mentioned before, there's still controversy about whether these guys are appropriate as an army in 40K. Because I mean, like technically you can damage them with any weapon in 10th edition
on sixes, but if you're gambling on sixes, right, if
you're gambling on sixes against 28 wounds for a Questoris Knight, then it's gonna take a long time to kill one.
I mean, a Knight Gallant is a toughness 11, 26 wound model with a 5-up invuln.
Yep.
I mean, that is a lot of wounds.
Oh yeah.
I've rarely lost my Land Raider that has 16 wounds.
Yeah.
Like this is another now, mind you, there's other stuff to shoot at, but still.
Well, and the other thing about the Knights is they're powerful on offense as well, in the sense that like if you have a really good anti-armor unit and you have one, then obviously I'm going to hit that with my Volcano Lance right off the bat, right?
Of course.
Right.
Oh, of course. Good point.
Yeah, and if you have like a squad of Terminators or Thunderhammers, my Gallant's going to go in there and he's going to Thunderstrike Gauntlet them and do 3 damage per hit with like 12 attacks hitting on 2s, and it like wipes. They'll wipe a unit easy.
Yeah.
Right.
That they get into.
Hence the Menace Tirith troll analogy.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So and then
I do.
Go ahead.
I do miss the era of with the Thunderstrike Gauntlet. If you could destroy a vehicle, you could pick it up and throw it at somebody.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. I forgot about that.
That was it. I don't know if you ever played the game War Machine. But
I haven't played it, but I've seen it.
So that's one of the things that the jacks, the war jacks could do in that game. You could pick up a war jack and throw it.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's very interesting. I mean, but also you don't have to deal with is melt-a-guns point blank that immediately detonate you.
Right?
Yeah.
The King Melt-a-Gun of previous editions is not nearly as much of a threat. One thing I will mention though is the typical Knight invulnerable save is just against ranged attacks.
Right.
So if you do get some really good anti-armor in close combat, then that's definitely a way to get in and smash. So
that's why those Thunderhammer Terminators are.
You're right.
Exactly.
Object number 1. Yep.
That makes a ton of sense.
Or Knight on Knight, they're going to be killing each other in close combat more so than ranged.
Yeah.
So what is so like how do they do it holding objectives? Because one of my concerns going into this army is, well, if there's 6 objectives on the table, what am I going to do?
So you have to balance in your army list and your playing. They're like each individual knight's very good at holding an objective. So a Questoris Knight has OC 10.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing, right?
It's huge.
But then he's standing on an objective, is my point.
Yeah, but then you're standing on an objective, and if you need to go somewhere else, you don't have a whole lot of units to do that with.
Yeah, they don't have objectives secured.
No, I wonder why.
No,
Right.
they don't. They can't sticky.
Could you imagine? Like they just move forward, stepping on objectives, holding them, and just keep moving forward.
Yep.
That
Be
that
awesome.
would be pretty.
It would be awesome.
It'd be for the knight player.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in the modern version in 10th edition, you have enough points that you can spread out with a decent number of armatures. And if you got some long range, like armature Helverins are really good at stepping on an objective and getting a firing angle for a while. But the downside of that is they are weaker of the knights, you know, so they can get cleared off an objective significantly more easily than.
But the big knights do have the advantage where they can do an action on an objective and still shoot.
Yes. Yes, the big knights have, that very important distinction of being able to do, free blades. But being able to do actions and shoot and fight. I mean, most people can fight also, but it's they can start an action even if they're an engagement.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It makes sense. You have to give them a little bit of flexibility in this regard. Yeah.
Right. Especially with so many points hinging around actions.
Right.
And we talked a lot already. We've already talked a lot about the flexibility you have in the loadouts for the big knights. The armatures are more set, but you have a lot of flexibility. I mean, the Questores.
Well, the Chaos War Dogs have all kinds of flexibility.
Yeah.
Like they can change all kinds of stuff. And
man.
And they look cooler.
I'll say the Chaos Knight conversion potential. Yeah. Some of the stuff that I've seen out there, I mean, Ned on the Discord's got crazy knights. I've seen some stuff in my local group, and I've seen some stuff on the sort of national scale that, the Chaos Knights that people come up with are just bonkers and super cool looking.
We'll talk about that a whole bunch next episode because I got some interesting pictures I want to talk about. So
excellent.
And then we also already talked about adding them into other armies, either as free blades or as an advanced commitment from a noble house coming in to play. So let's move over to the Elizabeth, was there anything else you wanted to add about the playing on the table part?
Good question.
The other detachment that I've tried out from this new codex that I think is really interesting, not necessarily competitively but narratively, is called the Gate Warden detachment. So the way it works is at the beginning of the game, you pick 2 objectives on the table, and it can be any 2 objectives, be your home, their home, 2 no man's land objectives, or any combination thereof. And you draw a line between those 2 objectives.
Oh, right. Yes.
And
cool.
While your knights are standing on the line, they get sustained 1.
Yeah.
And then all the stratagems in this detachment are based on standing on this line
holding
or your opponent standing on the line. So you're either holding the line or you're clearing the enemy off the line.
Yeah. So you're literally your unit has to be standing. If you drew a line between those 2, it has to be on that top.
It has to be on that
That is a really interesting mechanic.
Yeah, it's not a mechanic I've seen before in 40K, and it's very positional and board dependent and
thematic.
And thematic. Yes, exactly. Like the game is going to look like a real battle with your knights just locking in and holding down. It's like, this is mine.
Right.
So I think that's
super cool.
A very cool one.
That is cool. I love when like new concepts appear like that they seem fairly simple and innocuous, but they have like a huge amount of uniqueness to them. It's not hard to describe that and then just, do it, but it's probably harder to do than it is to describe,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So we're going to roll into the Black Library books that have been feature knights. A lot of the books have knights in them.
Yeah.
But don't necessarily feature them like some of the Horus Heresy books do as well. It's one of the ones I have on the list, but somebody, not me, said that the quintessential Imperial Knight novel is Apex Predator.
Yeah, because it focuses specifically on knights in this case, right? In particular, it follows a scion of House Orlak.
Yeah,
Orlak.
That's one of the houses I was going to pick, and I'll tell you why. But
piloting against enemy knights. So this is literally a book about knights and Chaos Knights, whereas, as you just mentioned, a lot of these feature knights.
Well, I would argue that King's Blade and Knight's Blade and Free Blade feature knights.
You say what you want, but this is the quintessential.
It's your show. I'll let you say it. Okay.
It's also the only one I've read.
There you go. Okay. It's quintessential because Carl has read it.
That's right.
All right.
In Carl's list, this is quintessential. All right, go on. Knights of Macragge.
Knights of Macragge was by Nick Kime. It's actually one of the Space Marine Battles novels. And again, this is where knights are featured, but that book is mainly about the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
And Liz, jump in at any time in any of those books that you want.
She's got some down.
I know she does. But some of these, I'm sure she's also read. One of the things is the Andy Clark series, the King's Blade, Knight's Blade, Free Blades.
Adon's quintessential.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, it is a series about Imperial Knights.
I think that's reasonable.
And so
it's the quintessential series. The other one's the quintessential book.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, I'm sure that Andy Clark just thrilled Duncan Rhodes to no end because it actually features House Griffith.
That's cool. Yeah.
And it really does jump into
only if there's a pilot named Duncanicus.
But it really goes into the politics and the culture and the experience of being a scion, and in Free Blades that there's a knight that kind of goes off and becomes a Free Blade, and so I think that it's a really, really great series for kind of getting into the down and dirty
right on
of the knight houses. The Warden of the Blade, it has some knights in it. It's mainly a Grey Knights book, but I think it's a good example of how knights come to the aid of Imperial forces.
Right on. Yep. And I think this is Liz's, right?
She threw it in here. Yep.
I put it in there. I'm grossly negligent in my Black Library following of Imperial Knights.
It's okay.
I do my own lore for the Imperial Knights, but I do want to read the.
Are you much of a writer, Liz?
Sometimes.
You could submit something. I'm just saying.
That's true. The competition is fierce, though. Those Black Library submissions.
I might know some authors that could give you some advice. We did an episode about how to become a Black Library author. Lowest rated episode we've ever done, by the way.
Lowest downloaded.
Downloaded, like
rated high, downloaded low.
In retrospect, not everybody wants to be a writer for Black Library. I thought it would be a cool topic, but anyway.
So the book I've put in here is one that I've had recommended to me by a number of people in the sense of it's called Assassinorum Kingmaker, and it's actually about assassins, but they're assassins on a night world because there's a monarch of this night world that's trying to secede from the Imperium and not necessarily go traitorous, but I mean, he'd be marked that by the rest of the Imperium. But
I think you even have like members of that house are like, what is this? What is going on here? Yep.
So the assassins are there to keep the Night House loyal, and moreover, if the Night House stays loyal, then it's defending an essential strategic asset and area of space that if the Night House doesn't defend anymore, then all kinds of stuff will fall.
What's the assassin that can change its shape?
The Calidus.
The Calidus assassin. Isn't there a Calidus assassin that like takes the place of like one of the I read this. This is a pretty good book too. Yeah, I like this.
And it's again, gritty. This book also does kind of go into some of the politics. Within the house. Yeah.
Because you have a leader of the house that's kind of going off the deep end, and everybody's like, well, wait a minute, who's going to do something about this?
Right.
Yeah. So this is a really gritty book. It's actually pretty good for as far as 40K novels go. This one I felt like had the grit and grime to it that I enjoyed. Yeah.
Horus Heresy Book 4 Conquest, in the Black Book series.
Yep.
Talks a lot about knights. And in fact, the book that you said is the quintessential book talks about House Orlok. And House Orlok is also one of the houses involved in this book. And that's the one I was going to pick up. I didn't pick the one that I was playing. because they're very interesting in that they have genetic mutations that make them almost abhuman.
Oh, interesting.
And they're sensitive to light, and there's a whole thing about House Orlok.
That Ellen Bly really know how to write this stuff.
Yeah. And so I think that came before Apex Predator. Okay. So I think Gav was
probably. I would imagine so.
I don't know. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg.
This book was probably the introduction of many of the types of knights and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I imagine.
Yeah. But it was, so it's really cool. I think the development of House Orlok, and it's interesting because they have they had this internal battle amongst them, and, it was unclear whether they were demonic or not, or whether they were good or not. And guess which Space Marine chapter they are most aligned with? Dark Angels.
Oh, that's not what I was going to say, but okay.
So this whole thing about this secret that they're hiding about their internal conflicts very much
resonates
with the Dark Angels, which I thought was really cool. Bunch of different short stories and anthologies that there's out there about knights. They've been in a bunch of White Dwarf stories. They were in a short fiction thing called Knights Errant. Which was about being a free blade, being out there kind of on your own.
Nice. Right. So what other supporting supplements are there for knights? Because we have the Codex,
right,
which is great and all.
Right, and then they have supplements. Well, so like I said, there was in a lot of White Dwarf things where there was some. In fact, they actually had. Liz wasn't the first combat patrol in White Dwarf for 10th Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a White Dwarf combat patrol that was all armigers.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, two armigers, one of each.
Right.
Is the White Dwarf combat patrol.
Right. So White Imperial Knights Renegade, which is a night-on-night battle, Imperium versus Chaos thing.
Yeah. So this was an older box set.
It was a box that came out too, right?
Yep.
With 2 knights. Yeah, and I thought it was really cool at the time because it was much crunchier in the sense of you didn't just shoot at the knight. Like you had locations kind of like Battletech or like Adeptus Titanicus.
It was its own game type.
It was its own game. Yeah.
Much like the one that they had with the Flyers fighting against each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And I put Imperium versus Chaos in quotes because at the time there were no Chaos Knight kits.
Right.
So a lot of people were buying this box set just to get 2 knights for their army.
And it was a good deal. Right. It was a good deal for that
Yes,
too.
it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Go ahead.
Yeah. There are video games and mobile games that have knights in them. I don't know if we consider those supporting supplements or
Why
not.
I mean, it's kind of fun. Freeblade's kind of a cool game.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a shooty game.
But
just blast stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that it really is important to jump in and get Adeptus Titanicus, even though it's not a 40K supplement.
That is a great point, actually.
It's one of the best ways. Well, it's Liz's point as well.
Yeah, I guess.
But
that's a great point, Liz. Adon, stop taking her credit. Adeptus Titanicus is a game. I'm sorry, I'm stepping on the. Now I'm stealing credit.
Go for it,
Adeptus Titanicus is a game that I absolutely love. And when people talk about getting into it, though, I'm always like, unless you know somebody else that's playing it, don't bother.
Yeah.
Building the Titans in that game, they are a project. Like they are easily as complicated as some of these larger models. In fact, many
Knights,
more so.
About, and the Knights
right.
Titanic.
And so I'm dropping down.
Yeah.
The Knights in that game are either completely ineffective or very effective. Lancers are amazing, by the way.
Lancers are amazing, and Porphyrions are amazing.
Porphyrions are like too amazing.
Yes, they are.
But I mean, it is a cool representation of seeing knights in a larger scale.
Right.
I mean, not mechanical, but like larger war scale.
Right.
And it is I didn't even consider that. We're gonna have to remember this for our Titan episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are fantastic, and they're fun models to paint at that scale too.
Oh, they're great. Yeah. And when you play them in the game, and like we talked about before with Titans being these lumbering things, in Titanicus you've got your
fast.
move direction, your pivoting, your like how slow you are, and your facing makes a huge difference. And knights are just skirting around the feet, going
They
like,
ignore all that.
can't touch me,
Yeah.
can't touch me. They ignore
Yeah.
all that and just poke away and
and die.
But I think also
and die,
Yeah.
sure, but that's the comparison between a true Titan and a super heavy.
But some Lancers will take down a big Titan pretty freaking well, and they're great. That's a great call out.
Yeah, and I think that the Knights also look really cool at the Imperialis scale.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that's where you get a lot of the ability to like, oh, this is my banner, this is my house. Like there are people that run Titanicus armies that are all knights.
Yeah.
And it's the horde version.
Right.
But like here's my whole house, and here's how
They're
like
so
all the
easy to
heraldry
paint.
shifts from lance to lance and stuff like that.
I think it's really cool.
Get into.
Yeah, they're so easy to paint. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
And Liz has already talked about where we see them on Warhammer TV.
Yep. And then I threw in here the Imperial Knight Companion book, which we talked about before. Like if you can find a copy of it somewhere.
I mean, there's not rules in it.
No.
But
it's all lore and Jeff's favorite.
The color plates.
Color plates.
Yeah.
But as I was just showing Adon, and you said, "Hey, free blades." There is a whole section on various free blades in it, and the names of them, and all this stuff. It's incredibly inspirational piece of work.
Right.
Hugely.
For Forge World support, which is not Forge World anymore, but I still like calling it Forge
World.
Well,
the expert model.
The expert model support.
Right. Tons of the knights are in there.
Yeah, we've talked about most of these already. I don't think we need to go down this whole list. We could read off a list.
I think the ones that I wanted to call out were the Atropos, the Megara, and the Styrics.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all, I think all of those are Mechanicus knights.
Yes.
I believe they are,
Yeah,
yes.
Yes.
I love the Styrics.
Yeah,
I just think it's a great knight. And there's an out of this, they actually had a scion on foot that they don't make anymore.
Right.
And I put a picture in
resin,
the notes.
right? Yeah.
In resin. It's in resin. I put a picture in the notes. Liz, when you're looking, can you see that?
Yeah.
Is that the same pose as the Canis Rex pilot?
It's very close.
It's close. I think
Canis,
slightly different.
Yeah, I think
is
Canis
slightly-
Rex is also holding a case of some kind.
Sir Hector's kind of running with like a briefcase kind of deal.
He's more like the Battle from a Crag dude.
That's right. He's a
Lieutenant.
bit better looking, actually.
But better looking. Yeah, way better looking. But I love that. I love this knight scion that they have in the Forge World.
Yeah, it's interesting. Forge World's not a separate entity anymore, so you can like really go and just go look at Imperial Knights and see like all the available there and see how many are out of stock.
Well, what's interesting
I'm
to
hoping
me,
they bring some back.
So stay tuned, because what happens, what we see happen traditionally with all of these resin kits that go into plastic, is they go out of stock first.
It's true. So some maybe,
and then they may come back in plastic. Like the Lancer, the Questoris ones came back.
I have 2 Lancers all in resin.
I mean, Cerastus came back in plastic, and so I
have 2 Lancers in resin.
Yeah,
well,
my Lancer's
one
resin.
fully assembled. Yeah.
And there's another sort of unique point that I want to bring up here too. Is one of the things that I was really hesitant about with this codex coming out is there's been so much focus on splitting the lines.
Mm-hmm.
So like the old world is the old world and Age of Sigmar is Age of Sigmar. And in our world, we have 30K is 30K and 40K is 40K. And that's been pretty consistent in every codex this edition.
Yeah.
But with the Knights, they've made that exception with the Cerastus because those are very 30K oriented. But you can still play them in 40K without Legends rules. They're still part of the Imperial armor.
A bunch
which
of
I really
these do.
appreciate.
Yeah.
It's not, well, I mean, as we said before, there's not a lot of models. The range isn't that big. So if they hadn't done that, it would have made the range that much smaller and made the army that much less palatable, I think, or less attractive.
Yeah. And I appreciate that they made that decision because these Knights are so big and people pour so much love into them.
Right.
And I know people do with their other armies and other units and such too, but it's just a huge chunk for each Knight that if you lost one of these types or 3 of these types, like it could be devastating.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
So let's go into the final part, which is what makes this army fun? What makes it unique? What, if to you, what calls out to it, this is super cool. So I'm going to let Liz be the last person on this because
I think that's the right call.
Right. So Carl, you go first.
Yeah. I mean, certainly fewer models to worry about carrying around is kind of nice. It's in a world where, I mean, look, they're still expensive, right? Each knight is still quite an expense you're paying. But if you're looking to get on the table fast, like this might be an approach you want to take as opposed to carrying around large amounts of models. You do need to think, I think, about tactics quite a bit differently for this army versus kind of everything else on the table except another knight army. Simply because, as we just talked about, holding objectives can be a little difficult at times. So I mean, yeah, these things are killy as heck, but can you win a game?
Because you don't necessarily. That's one thing that makes it unique.
Yeah, you don't necessarily win a game. So I think it provides an interesting challenge in that regard, and also just the visual feel of it. Like it's a cool looking army to see on the table.
Yeah.
So especially I think when you ally in one of these units or two armigers or war dogs with another army,
right?
It makes for a pretty stunning visual, I think.
Right.
I just played in that 3,000 point game I talked about with Travis, who brought his knight that he had painted up beautifully and hurried to get done, and then it was completely ineffective the whole game. but he still crushed me. But it looked amazing with the rest of his army. It really did stand out.
So for me, what makes the army fun and unique? It's big, stompy robots, baby.
Yep.
I gotta love that. I mean, to me, one of the things I really like about it, it's the closest you can get to fielding Titans on the field.
Yeah.
And I just like in Age of Sigmar and 40K, I always tend towards fielding a lot of the big, monstery kind of things on the table. Like I have a Magmadroth army. It's all Magmadroths in Age of Sigmar, things like that. So I love having something where you just have a bunch of big, stompy robots in AdMech. It's all Castellans in my army. The other thing I think is really cool and unique about this army, we didn't talk about it, but I want to bring it up here, is their Crusade rules.
Yeah.
Because in Crusade, you actually are tracking the pilots separate from their machines.
That's cool. That's a unique approach.
Yeah, it's a very unique approach that they have for how you track, and you can have like a vacant suit that you then assign a pilot to.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting in the Crusade perspective. Lore-wise, it's interesting because you would have to kind of reacquaint yourself with the spirit of that suit.
Possible.
Right? Yeah, possible, for sure. But, you have situations in the books where a scion ends up separated from his suit and vice versa.
Sure.
And so how do you address that? And there's actually specific Crusade rules about how you do that and how the different pilots ascend through the ranks. And I think it's super cool, super thematic. I know a lot of people don't like tracking stuff in Crusade, and they think Crusade is too much
If you're
work,
into it, it's a unique experience.
but I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Just real quick before Liz gives her final points here.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning of the show, I've been rereading Gaunt's Ghosts, and I'm on like book 5, and what's her name? Jagda?
Yeah.
The pilot from Double Eagle, and the other one is in this
the book. Yep.
And I forgot that she was in it, because when I went and read Double Eagle, I just didn't draw the parallel, but she's in it pretty significantly. She's a great character.
Yeah.
So talking of pilots. So
right.
All right, Liz, hit us with your best shot.
Well, on that same same note, Lady Artemis is on her way to earning a Knight Defender chassis in Crusade. So
nice.
She's finally gonna see the ritual of becoming.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
So why is the army fun? I think you can fight for honor and glory and all the classic sort of knightly themes. And if you ever wanted to play a paladin in D&D, this is basically how you play.
Why would you play anything else?
That's why Adon likes this army.
Yes, man. Yeah. And they've got so much character, and you can, when you're telling the lore and the story of your particular army, you've got a sense of individual heroism in a setting of meaningless hordes.
Yep.
So like even Space Marines, like other than your captain, you're getting lost in the wash of like, oh, well, this guy's a sergeant. He's been fighting for 1,000 years,
Right.
but like, who cares? Because he just got shot by a splinter rifle, like, but with the Knights, like you can really develop who these people are and who their steeds are, and you can develop lore for each of them. And in my head, it also helps that like, just because the chassis got blown up doesn't necessarily mean that the pilot died.
Right.
So like you can lose a battle and you can lose your models, but you can still theoretically narratively have your people survive and move on from that in a way that a lot of other armies don't let me do narratively in
Listen,
my head.
I can teleport back up to battle barges anytime.
Yeah, you can teleport back up to the battle
or
barge.
like the Botan can be cloned. Yeah.
But you
work
raise
around
this
it.
is an excellent point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then tabletop wise, they're relatively simple and fast to play. Like, especially if you're in an event, like your movement phase is like, okay, there's my 5 minutes of I moved this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this armager over here, and I'm done.
Right.
It's not a whole lot of different units. And yes, they're throwing a lot of dice for each individual unit, but when there's only 4 or 5 of them, it goes by really quickly.
Which also means you have to make those decisions. Like you don't have yeah.
You do. And the hardest part that I've got on here is the thinking about board placement. Because like even as someone who's played Knights a lot, like the detachment where you have 3 armigers within range of 1 Questoris Knight to gain the bondsman abilities, like actually having that come into play in practice takes a lot of forethought. And includes a lot of decision making. Like, is that going to be worth it? And you really don't have redundancy in this list or in this army. If one of your big Knights gets blown up, there's a very, very small chance that you have a second one of those.
Right.
To play that particular role. And lastly, on the hobbying aspect.
Oh yeah,
this is a great point because I didn't touch on this, and I'm so glad you brought this up.
It's an army that almost demands you make it your own. You spend so much time on these models that each individual one is worthy of a diorama, freehand, or a centerpiece level of attention. And it really just, you build into it. You can spend as much time as you want on these guys. You can get them on the board fast. If you spray paint the chassis silver and then place the armor plates on the top of it, like
I'm gonna do an oil wash and all that.
It's ready to go, right? But like if you want to tell a story, like with my Knights, if each individual one has heraldry, you can write a whole story about the notable battles and what each little mark on their pennants mean and all that kind of stuff to get into it.
Yeah. Liz, this is incredible what you've done with your army.
Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely inspiring.
But and you see this with a lot of Knight players where the base is basically a diorama, and there's things on the base that represent things that happen. I know people who, like, depending on games that they've played, will put new relics on the base or new trophies on the base, like an orc head or
that's cool.
The claw of a Tyranid or whatever.
Yeah. All of my bases have dead Tyranids on them somewhere because we're dragon slayers, like I said, and all those Tyranids come from the Courtois Cetes campaign, which was part of the IC's 2nd or 3rd war on gray plastic.
Awesome.
Well,
and you were involved in the Patreon crusade as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. Yep.
Very cool.
All right. Well, Liz, I can't thank you enough for joining us. You've added color to this dreary coverage that we could not have done.
Right.
And what you are doing with your army is absolute. Like when I saw that picture of you playing and you're like, oh, I didn't realize even at that time you had Knights. And now the more I've learned about it, the more I'm like, how did I not know Liz had Knights?
Yeah.
Like these are
they're in
amazing.
the official lore of 40K, her Knights.
Yeah.
I don't have anything in official lore.
Nope.
ADB won't even add Carlos Tuttlist to anything as much as I keep asking him.
But you did get a chance to drop the name. That's good.
He just goes, that's the stupidest name I've ever heard. But super thank you for joining us and helping us out here. We really appreciate it, Liz. And, keep up the good fight on gray plastic. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Sorry I'm late, guys. I just finished a tank weathering class with Justin from
Hey, Travis, that's great. But Blake and I came up with the greatest event ever.
Really? I'm all ears.
All right, tell him, Ed. But start with the best part.
Okay, it's a 40K GT, and the best part is it takes place on the beach.
But
I know what you're going to say. How can you enjoy the beach when you're playing all day long? Here's the best part. It's only 2 leisurely 3.5-hour matches per day.
Yes, but
Let me stop you right there, Travis. The best part is this is an all-inclusive 4-day, 3-night retreat with lodging and 10 meals included for only $400.
I know, because
I haven't got to the best part yet, Travis. The best part is it's in Hawaii.
guys, that's great. But it's already being done.
Really?
Yes. War on the Shore is a GT that takes place from January 8th to the 11th in beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii, and it incorporates everything you've already said. But you want to know what the best part is?
What?
It's for charity.
For more information, head to tablewarcharities.org/events and aloha.
All right, so we are joined by Todd and a guest he will introduce in just a moment. But Todd from Table War Charities, who are running the second of hopefully continuing annual War on the Shore events. Welcome, Todd. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Carl, and hi, Adon. It's been nice to see you in the flesh here, so to speak, but not quite.
Digital flesh.
Digital flesh.
Digital flesh.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit.
Having us.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about War on the Shore for next year, and what it's gonna look like.
Yeah. Well, okay. First of all, when you say next year, it makes it sound far off. It's not far off.
No, it's November.
This is it's
October.
November now.
It's October now, actually. Oh my God, I'm old.
Now that we've got that straight. But the event's actually in the beginning of January. So we've been promoting this for about a year, but we've got some new stuff and we'll get to that. But let me tell you a little about this. First of all, when I think about the things that I like the most about Warhammer and the community, it's always been about getting together with the group, whether it's a group of 30 guys in a house over an extended weekend or a big event with thousands of people, thinking Adepticon, Nova Open, all these. I just love getting together with people and playing the game that we all love together. And so as we've been looking at methods to raise money for Table War Charities, which is all about autism advocacy and helping the families more fully access to education for their children. You guys have all heard it on the ICs a lot, so I won't go into it. We wanted to create an event that was really special. And so we thought, and you guys maybe heard the commercials, we thought, let's play on the beach. Let's play just a couple rounds a day.
That's not the best part.
Right. But let's do these, but we went a little bit further because we're all staying together and we're all eating together. Yeah. So this is an all-inclusive type of package. People show up at War on the Shore, and this is on the north shore of Oahu, which is the island that Honolulu's on. So you fly into Honolulu, and you show up at the resort, and we give you a place to stay, and we give you 10 meals, and it's $400.
And let me just tell you, I went last year with Shell, and it feels like when you were a kid and you went to camp, and you had those experiences at camp, but this is like Warhammer camp on the beach. It's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, add in some dice, add in a little bit of adult beverages, add in some kids running around. We had a bunch of kid activities last year, and we're going to actually have even more kid activities this year. So we're encouraging people to bring their families. We have accommodations for families as well. But this is an event, in my mind, unlike any other. You go, you're immersed, you're with the group. And it really was, I kid you not, it was my favorite part that we all sat down and ate each meal together.
Yeah.
It gave us a chance, people, moved around, sat in different seats with different groups each day. You grabbed your food. It was, it's camp food, but the food was really excellent. Think of a lot of the Hawaiian favorites, the pork, Just really great food every day. I think it was only the last meal that they served us hamburgers and hot dogs, right? But it was great food.
No, it was.
We had time each day. We had like a 4 or 5 hour break each day. One day we're climbing towers, we're going hikes. There's the beach. We had the pool. There's Alpine Tower, which was a hoot. We had this little 3-year-old girl that was going up this Alpine Tower, and she only got up to the first level. But the best part for her was being belayed down and lowered down on this thing. And she was giggling. So she did it like 5 times while we're all watching. We got a video. But it was just, it's kind of getting away. You're on, like I said, you're North Shore of Hawaii. You're away from the crowds. In fact, you're almost at the end of the road. Mm-hmm. And it's just all of us having a hoot and holler time. I think the camp songs around the campfire with the s'mores on the one night.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, we were singing camp songs and doing the silly camp, whatever, the dance that went on with the songs. And we're laughing and crying. We were having such a good time. So
around the big bonfire thing.
Again,
it was
you
awesome.
Think about all the good things about going to an event with Warhammer. And we've tried to package it into something that you're going to want to be at.
Yeah.
So
how's it going to be different this year? Because you have some ideas. What is the main thing that's going to make it different this year?
Well, we made a decision now about 7 or 8 weeks ago to add a second component, because we recognize that there's people that really want to play competitive 40K, and there's people that want to play something not so competitive, something that's more in line with telling stories and just having that experience. And so while we're still going to have War on the Shore of the Charity GT, we're now also going to have War on the Shore of the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And this narrative is something that we're going to flex and use the expertise that's out there. And so with that, I introduced Chris Stover. He's with us today. He's going to be able to talk about it, but he is what I would call the narrative expert. He's run narratives at the Nova Open. He's run narratives at multiple events for GW in the States. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, you're just back from doing the grand narrative in the UK. So here's a guy that has
this is the Chris Stover.
Yeah.
The Chris Stover. Not just any Chris Stover, the Chris Stover.
Yeah. Imagine a guy that's dressed up Mechanicum style for 4 days straight. And you barely ever see his face because he's just giving it his all.
The cosplay smells amazing too at the end.
I'm sure. So with that, we've invited Chris to come to Hawaii. He's going to have a whole pod of buildings where people will, we're working on some of this, but people are going to live together, play together, eat together, and be immersed together. And we have lots of great ideas. But I'll throw it over to Chris to talk about narrative. And he can throw out any of whatever he wants to talk about in terms of what we're going to do in Hawaii. But I'm hoping this keeps another edge of the gaming community excited to come visit us in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Make this a great thing for the charity. And hey, let's just have a blast. So with that, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I tried to give a little introduction, and then we'll let Don and Carl kind of guide you through the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks for the intro. The Chris Stover. I don't know if I'm that well renowned, but if that's the case, then I'm doing it right, I guess. But yeah, working on coming together with a really compelling and fun and engaging narrative for War on the Shore. I have a pretty big narrative past for the past 5 or 6 years. Although I've been doing narratives for a long time, but got involved with Nova, got involved with GW, have started to branch out into some other areas. Yeah, I just got back from the UK. What an amazing experience. We actually did a grand narrative style narrative in the UK for Games Workshop officially, and keep your eyes peeled on like Warcom for anything coming out of that. But I like to take that experience, and I like to try to share that as far and wide as I can, and I'm super excited about coming out there and doing it, especially with the format that we have available, with the facilities we have available, one of the great things about narrative is that you're not structured to the set matched play, right? It's not you're not just going there and you're not seeing the same table layouts, you're not seeing the same list, you're not looking to, oh, I need to see what my opponent's playing in the next round, so I can go talk to all my teammates about how to beat them. It's really a different style of play. That's a super valid style of play. I played it for 20 years before I really jumped all the way in the deep end with narrative. But I just think with the narrative style of play, you get to play a little bit more casually, a little more relaxed. I won't say it's any easier because the amount of rules that you have to know for narrative, you have to know everything you need to know for the standard style play, and then a little bit more. But it really lets you get immersed into the game and kind of get to that feeling that I had as a kid growing up. I didn't start the game saying, "Hey, I wish I could play chess with these miniatures," right? I started the game with, "Hey, this thing looks really cool, and here's this story I'm telling in my head as I'm putting the miniatures on the table and rolling dice, and oh, these dice rolls didn't go so well. What did that mean narratively, right? What could have actually gone on in this battle that caused that?" And I kind of like the headspace that people get into in the narrative when they're playing like that, right? Because you end up not being so immersed in your win loss, your record, your win path, getting the top table, but really more so in how your actions are impacting the story and how you are interacting with the rest of your faction and your team, maybe even some of the goading back and forth to the other teams. And that's something I'm really excited about, the format of the pods and the houses that we have there, the bunk rooms, because something I think we're going to be able to bring to War on the Shore is, you're staying in a pod, in a bunk room with your actual faction. So, Chaos in one, Imperium in another, Xenos in another. And the way those things are laid out, I think we can actually put some tables in there as well for play. And that's going to be really cool because you kind of get the concept of, this is your home field, right? This is your home planet.
Coming into my house.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, as someone who's been to every grand narrative so far and actually run not quite as involved narrative events in past years, just sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's such a cool dimension that hasn't really been brought to any other narrative that I've been a part of. So I think I'm really excited about it, to be honest with you. Really excited about it, and I think our players will be too. I think they get to take a lot of ownership of their own battlefields, a lot of ownership of their own play areas. I like the decision-making process that goes on even outside of the games, where you're thinking about, okay, who's gonna be here defending our territories while we send other people out to go attack the other territories. And just I get a really good sense that the camaraderie for this event is going to be really high.
So Chris, is this also going to be 6 games over 3 days, and are you using Crusade rules?
Yeah, so it'll be, I think, what do we have it? 6 games over 3 days, 2 a day with one break period each day.
So the same as the GT. Okay.
Yep, exactly. And then I think we even have the same break period so that people can go do the extra activities, especially like with their friends and family if they're going to be playing in the GT as opposed to the narrative. That way everybody's kind of got the same periods of time off to enjoy the island as well. There will be Crusade rules. I do tend to run in non-GW specific events a more streamlined version of it.
Okay.
So we'll be looking at...
Same idea.
Yeah, same idea. Yeah. What I found in a lot of the weekend tournaments for Crusade is that tracking experience, tracking agendas, making all of those decisions on upgrades really causes some decision paralysis sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just like how this is set in an extremely relaxing environment, I want that to carry over to the gameplay as well. So I want people to feel like they're not being pressured into making all the right decisions, or else everything's going to go pear-shaped, things like that.
Right.
I want people to be relaxed, fun, enjoy the RPG-ish characteristics of a progression of your army, but at the same time not be paralyzed with having to make all the best decisions, or else you're not going to perform.
Right. cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
I think this sounds like in such an amazing event. And after we spoke about it, I was trying to make it work for me this year, and unfortunately, I cannot make it. But man, I want to so badly.
Yeah, I'm looking at flights right now.
A couple quick questions, Chris. One, do Adeptus Mechanicus have board shorts? Because
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes they have to go to islands, right? There's tech on those places. There's architect that they have to recover.
That's a good point.
A lot of it could be in the surf,
That's right.
I was just trying to think of playing an orc in a Hawaiian shirt.
There you go. Yeah. Listen, I think the idea is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I really, I've been telling Don, I really do need to get out to a grand narrative at some point. I just haven't been able to make it. And I was like, well, maybe I'll go to this. And now I can't make this. So,
and which airport do people fly into? They'll fly into Honolulu, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's actually a great deal. It's we went last year. Shell and I went last year. We had a ton of fun. It's a beautiful area. The site is a lot of fun. And you're right, Todd. You hit it on the head. Not only are you hanging out with your friends and meeting new people and eating together and just laughing and having a good time, you're also helping out kids and families that need that help. In with the autism advocacy through the education departments and stuff. So it's a great charity. It's one that I'm passionate about, and Todd is incredibly passionate about. But this is a really fun event that helps support that, and you get a great deal for $400.
Yeah. Well, and if you're a listener, really consider it. If you're Dave Gormley, we've been waiting to get you out here to Hawaii. A narrative I know is right up his alley. So get out here. But let me just say another thing. We have great sponsors as well.
Yep.
The Army Painter has already sent over loads of things for us to give away. Table War. We have these guys from Battlefront who have gotten some terrain. And then we have Island Distributing, who is providing alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages for the event, which means we have coolers, open coolers. People grab what they want. This is what I mean by inclusive. Grab what you want all weekend long. And if you feel like it makes sense to you, make a donation to the charity that's equivalent to what you think that value is.
Right.
But we're not nickel and diming people.
No.
You come, we want you, as Carl said, we want you to relax, right? Enjoy the time, leisurely rounds. Even the GT is, they're 3.5 hour rounds, 2 per day.
Yeah, it's super.
We're not going to rush anybody. The only time that there's a rush is it's mealtime.
It's time to eat,
and we all come together. And we'll have the GT guys and the narrative guys all come together for the meals.
That's how food fights start, by the way, Todd. I just want to warn you.
We'll have to come up with some sort of like battle cry for the narrative folks.
There you go.
Well, and for sure, obviously we use it as an opportunity to introduce the day or close out the day. So there's going to be opportunities for updates from the narrative guys, updates from us running the event. There'll be we'll talk about the schedule, particularly the events for the kids that are happening each day. I mentioned Army Painter is going to be Army Painter is going to be there. Kat's from Army Painter is going to be there, and she's going to do a special painting class
for the kids.
Yeah,
she's great with
that's
that.
Right.
That's so cool.
And if Adon wants to jump in there, because Adon can't ever miss a painting class, he's welcome.
Oh wow!
Yeah, shots fired.
I thought you were saying because I paint like a kid.
I know. Adon's like, hey, I showed up with my 4 airbrushes. Can I join you?
Yeah, man, that's great, Todd.
But anyway, so it's going to be a great time. And I encourage y'all to come. We have a fun system with the prizes. We don't just give a bunch of prizes that are unwanted to the winners of the GT.
Yeah.
I think the winner of the GT last year got a flag with, it was a great special,
cool.
War on the Shore flag that they walked away with. But all the things that are donated, you play a game, you get a ticket. You lose a game, you get an extra ticket.
I won a tableware case. And gave it to another player.
You want to make some donations to the charity, you get a bunch more tickets, and then you throw them into the buckets of the prizes you want. So there's a whole ability to kind of almost have everybody walk away with something awesome. And it'll be something awesome that you want and not, hey,
it really was. It really
I got that
was.
Sisters of Battle thing that I
don't play.
I don't play. Right. It's going to be you only when you want. I know some of the guys who got some of the Army Painter stuff. It was awesome because it's like, hey, here's just the metallics.
Yep.
Someone wanted just metallics. Here I want, whatever. It's organized well. Fun time happening. We reward our players. We got some other special gifts we're working on for players. It's an amazing time. You should come. If you want to know where to find out information, just go very simple. I didn't even put it on the charity site directly. Go tablewar.com/charity.
Yep.
And it will take you right to the War on the Shore site, where it'll explain the whole thing. It shows the itinerary of the 4 days. People arrive early on Thursday for check-in, and you have early bird lunch on Thursday through lunch on Sunday, and we will then check out. And, last year we did an optional group dinner in Waikiki.
Yeah, we did.
With some good cocktails, as I recall.
I don't remember.
Is there accommodations for Sunday night so people can fly back on
You
Monday?
would need to arrange for your own.
So there aren't, and the better reason is because it's kind of far. So what most of us did was we got a cheap hotel near the airport.
Yep.
And exactly what I got. It was like $100 for the night. It was right on the airport, like a quarter mile from the airport, and there was a free shuttle. So
here's a flight that lands at 1:00 on Thursday.
There you go.
Yeah, so you're good to go. If you arrive on Thursday, you show up and you'll get those you might miss lunch, but you'll get dinner and the night activities on the first night.
It's a great event.
There you go.
It's a great event.
And the narrative stuff, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with the narrative stuff, even starting Thursday night, because, again, if you have your own world to set up, there's a lot of things that you're going to get to put your hands into. And I think Chris and I were talking about, your world, you can define some of the rules that go along with your world, some of the things,
absolutely.
So that, and we're going to have a bunch of stuff so you can decorate your world. Right. So
very cool.
Like I said, it's going to be neat. It's going to be neat. And we'll have the narrative will have, of course, these faction areas, but we'll also have some neutral areas. So there's plenty of room to go and just really get immersed. And then, you come and eat meals with those guys playing in the competitive GT and hear them complain about, rolling their ones.
Well, our listeners are super into narrative stuff. So you're talking to the right group of people.
Excellent.
And I hope people get a chance to make it to this event because it was fantastic last year, and I'm actually jealous that I can't be there. So.
Yeah, like I said, $400 a person. If you want to bring your spouse, it's $300 for a spouse or a significant other, whatever, as well as children. You get all the activities, all the food, and the lodging for that. And I do have some accommodations just for families, so you can contact us if you're willing to do that. But January 8th through the 11th. It's coming, so do what Adon's doing. Hop on the airline sites and look for the air tickets.
He's on his phone booking
and plan on getting over here because it's going to be a blast.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys joining. Chris, best of luck on this event, and I've absolutely enjoyed the events that you have done that I've been to, and I know Adon has been to many. So we will talk soon, and I'll put all these notes in the show notes, all the links that you need in the show notes so that you can find it there. All right, and we're back. So I want to reiterate how much Liz brought to the table here. I really appreciate it. It was a good idea. Don, as we were setting this up, Don's like, what if we got Liz to join and talk about the Imperial stuff? Now, the chaos stuff. All right, Don. So let's get into chaos. Okay. In usual Carl fashion, I really overestimated how much we could fit into this episode. So we're going to make this part one of part two. Next episode, we will be talking all about Chaos Knights and everything that goes in there. Liz says she will only touch those things with a 10-foot pole, so she won't be here.
No.
I'll see if I can think
She was just going to sit along the sidelines and yell, "Heretic! Heretic!"
That's right, which I have a button for already.
Heretics.
There you go.
So,
can I hit the button? Can I be the one hitting the button?
You want to hit it?
No, I mean, in the episode.
Sure. Of course you can.
Objective achieved.
I generally don't play with the buttons very much. No. Okay, so I'll see if I can't think of somebody who would who I can bring to the table to help
There you
out
go.
with this. So next episode we'll be talking about Chaos Knights. But again, thank you so much, Liz, for joining. Super helpful. You got any other thoughts you want to throw out there, Don?
No, this has been really, really cool. I really enjoyed going down the rabbit hole and doing the research for this show.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's always fun.
These are always fun. They are time consuming, but it is fun. So again, leave us reviews on iTunes. Leave us reviews on whatever app you're using to listen to your podcasts of choice. We really do appreciate it. It does help get the word out. We have a Facebook group. We have Discord. We have the Patreon, which you can join. You can see all that information and more from theindependentcharacters.com. Also, if you want to leave us a message, you can leave us a 2-minute message, which, if we find it enlightening enough, we can play it on the air and give you our feedback. So you can leave us a message about anything, about the show, about the army you're playing, about the stuff you're working on for the Hobby Progress Challenge, whatever you want to do. Speaking of the Hobby Progress Challenge, the Hobby Progress Challenge is going on.
Yes, it is.
You got to get your commitments in by the 10th. So we're past that here, but we're going
October.
Yeah, for October, but we're heading into November, and you can get your commitments in there. But so far, so good. I mean, we've had a lot of people join this year.
Yep.
It is not too late to join. You can't get full credit for all 12 months, but you can still get a lot of entries.
And any credit at all can make you eligible for a prize.
That is 100%.
We should do a whole episode on the Hobby Progress Challenge.
We did. And really, the real prize is the friends we made along the way.
There it was.
So, you got anything else? That's it. I think I hit all the points. Yep. So, until next time, this is Carl.
And this is Adon.
And we're coming to you from the Astronomicon. I almost made it without an accident.
Almost.
Where we have titanic feelings about the way things are going.
And barons and scions stride into battle against traitorous renegade houses.
We'll see you next time. This episode of The Independent Characters is protected by the Creative Commons license. If you have further questions as to its use, you can find information on the front page at theindependentcharacters.com.